Hello, 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 hello. Can y'all hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Hi, Mr. C. Put in the one in the chat if you can hear me. Hi, Micki-Redd Creates. I know. I just went to lunch, so I feel a little bit better. This is not taking it easy, but I feel I still have a little cough, but I feel better. And I have some stuff for you. Okay. Okay, listen. I'm not going to be before you long. I want to share something with you. I went to lunch. I met, thank you. I feel better. Still got a little cough, but I feel better. Met Angela Michelle for lunch. We had a great time. I was encouraging you all to get out and enjoy the sunshine, the fresh air, wherever you are. Life is meant to be lived. I also shared with you earlier today that, coming back from Oklahoma City was a little bit, melancholy, a little bit bittersweet. And I shared with you why. But I also shared with you that a friend of mine, a high school classmate, shared with me something that I posted on Facebook almost 10 years ago. Okay. So I want to read it to you because as much as things change, they stay the same. Okay. So I'm going to bring it up real quick and I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to dissect it a little bit by little bit. Okay. The only name I'm going to mention are people that you have seen on my show before. So this particular group is called A Place to Vent. And this was in no, not 19, 2013. Okay. So this is what I wrote. I feel a rant coming on and it's a doozy. So read on if you dare. Already at the gate. When I changed my profile picture yesterday, several of you, L. Holland, Kevin Samuels, Mr. Bruner, Monique Bruner, and Mr. Phillips teased me about how intense I looked. Who knew that before the day's end, I would have to get into character? Well, as luck would have it, I engaged in a loving but dissenting debate with my friend and brother, Mr. Massey, over the new song by Tank, Genuine, and Tyrese called Sex Never Felt Better. My position was and is I'm dismayed with the direction that music has taken over the years. And when I thought about it, music has taken the same direction that dating, or shall I say the lack thereof, has taken. Y'all hear me? Gone are the days of true romance when a man and woman would flirt with each other with a smile or a passing glance. The internet and texting have reduced dating and courtships to quote unquote sex never felt better experience, a sex never felt better experience, and I want no part of it. Just yesterday, a gentleman, a term I use loosely, I've been communicating with, called me, and first thing out of his mouth was, quote unquote, what's for dinner? What? Mind you, we haven't even had our first date yet. Mysteriously, the call dropped. When he called back, he had the audacity to ask me the same question. And I said, I don't know what is for dinner. I went on to say, allow me to introduce myself. I am T. Jones, and I'm not sure who you've been communicating with within the past, but I don't particularly care. But if you're trying to get my attention, you might try a different approach. I am single, yes, but please don't be confused with my singleness as being desperation. When I began to contemplate the exchange between myself and Mr. Raymond about the new TGT song and our conversation with my would-be suitor, it doesn't surprise me that the state of courtships, relationships, and romance these days doesn't exist. When timeless lyrics like, quote unquote, "To see heaven in your eyes is not so far" by Stevie Wonder are replaced with, quote unquote, "Tattoo my name on it" by TGT, is it any wonder that some men think they can step to a woman with such ish as "What's for dinner" and have the wait a minute, and have that count as courting and showing genuine interest? I'm sorry. And the travesty is that some will accept it. For me, there are worse things than being single. I thank my mother for the gift of music, and in it, the gift of romance and the gift of what is possible. I gave that same gift to my daughter, Danny B. Jordan, because she's worth it. What she chooses to do with it is up to her, but she can never say she didn't know better. As for me, I'm sticking to my guns because, as my brother and my daughter's godfather penned in his poem 25 years ago, quote unquote, "This I cannot allow." And like I told my road dog, Miss Bray, when a buster steps to me with some foolishness like that, I'm going to be like a barber with an open chair. I'm cutting heads. Who's next? Yeah. So I pinned that. So thanks, Miss James, my high school classmate, who sent that to me. And again, like I said, several people teased me, Kevin being one of them, that I was so intense on the profile picture that I put on there, and that's why I was looking so intense rather, because that is what dating had come to almost 10 years ago, and it's only gotten worse. It's only gotten worse. Not to say that, yes, as a woman, if I'm dating a man, or y'all know how I feel about Mr. Randolph, yeah, I'm cooking my baby dinner or my baby. But y'all heard me read. The dude asked me, "What's for dinner?" And we hadn't had even a first date yet. What? Not even coffee, nothing. Yeah, Courtney Michelle's the top 5 finest in the YouTube up in here. Hey, Sir Hell Speaks, Courtney Michelle M. Mills. Let me go ahead and give some shouts out this morning or this afternoon. What the Funk? Yeah. Am I tripping? I'm like, hold up. But check it out though. So when we think about that, that was 2013. I think I was 45, about to turn 46. Let me look at that. Because, and I'm sharing this with you because life and circumstances, okay, check it out. Whoa. This was May 17th, 2013, and I was about to have my 46th birthday party in Oklahoma City, and that's when Kevin came to my birthday party. Yes. So in 2013, I'm about to turn 46. Now, I wouldn't have considered that to be cocky, but maybe somebody did. Maybe somebody would have considered it to be cocky. But I was resolute in the fact that I'm just not going to accept anything on the strength that you have male parts. Just like men are saying they're not going to accept anything because they have female parts. But check this out though. I did not, between 46 and 50, my life was changing. Now, not to say because my life was changing that I should have accepted anything, because I shouldn't have. But from the time I wrote that email, or not, that that rant on Facebook to just 4 years later, one might have said I was desperate. One might have said that I was desperate because I truly accepted something other than what I was worth. Not just once either, at least twice between the age of 46 and 50. So, not to say that my point of view was not accurate, because nobody should just settle for anything. But at that particular time, I still felt and believed that I could still pick what I wanted. And part of it I probably could have picked what I wanted on certain aspects, if you know what I mean, but not what I needed. But does it surprise you that from 2013 to now, how downward this whole thing has gone? Does it surprise you? And even from there, 2013 to now, we went from tattoo my name on it to eat you like groceries. So one could argue that in as much as women are off the chain, and we are, some contributing factors are such music as that. Hey, Lucky Marie, Nisi Pooh, you understand me? Would it surprise you? Hey, Uncle Stu, hey, bro, 2 months. Does it surprise you? Because again, if we women's, again, I'm 46, I'm still tight and pretty tight and right. I'm trying to, find me a suitor, and I got a man sending me a song. I want to tattoo my name on it. What? Let's take it apart for a moment, shall we? For those of you who are coming in late, I'm going to take this piece by piece. May 17, 2013, thanking my high school classmate who is Kevin's first cousin, who sent this memory to me that I guess came up on her feed. And I wrote, I feel a rant coming on. And it is a doozy, so read on if you dare. When I changed my profile picture yesterday, several of you to include L. Holland, Kevin Samuels, Mr. Bruner, Monique Bruner, and Mr. Phillips teased me about how intense I looked. Yes, I was intense. I was intense. Who knew that before the day's end, I would have to get into character, meaning grow folks real? Okay? Well, as luck would have it, I engaged in a but loving debate with my friend and brother, who's also a Millwood Falcon, over the song by Tank, Genuine, and Therese. Sex never felt better. My position was and is that I'm dismayed at the direction that music has taken over the years. And when I think about it, music has taken the same direction that dating, or shall I say the lack thereof, has taken. Is it any wonder that these youngins, because mind you, my brother that I was having this conversation with, he's in my age group. Now he's young. I think he might have been in Kevin's class or maybe a class before him or after. I can't remember, but he's younger than me. So this is an old head like myself talking about a song like this almost 10 years ago. So is it any wonder that when we try to talk to these youngins about romance, courting, dating, they look at us like we got a horn. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Because I'm thinking about this was 9 years ago. So when you think about these youngins who are in their mid to late 20s, they were children. So they think we're talking about something a way off. They don't know what we're talking about. They think we foolish. They think we made something up. Gone are the days of true romance when a man and woman would flirt with each other with a smile or a passing glance. The internet and texting, or shall I say, sliding into a DM, have reduced dating and courtship to a quote unquote sex never felt better experience, and I want no part of it. I want no part of it. Again, just yesterday, a gentleman, a term I use loosely, that I have been communicating with, called me, and the first thing out of his pie hole, or shall I say mouth, is what's for dinner. What? Hello, what's for dinner? What? What? Mind you, again, hadn't even had our first date in person yet, communicating over the phone. So mysteriously, the call dropped. When he had the audacity to call me back, he asked me the same question. I said, I don't know what is. And then I went to say, allow me to introduce myself. I am T. Jones, and I'm not sure who you've been communicating with in the past, and I really don't particularly care. But if you're trying to get my attention, you might want to try a different approach. He had to be growed. So again, when I contemplate my conversation with Mr. Raymond and myself concerning the new song, in my would-be suitor, it didn't surprise me of the state of courtships or dating, because this is what you get. This is what you get. So when you combine that with sex before marriage, even before there's any relationship, and then you combine, okay, you expect a woman to act like a wife. I get that. But before you want that, like even before you have a real date and sex, I need to understand something. I need to understand something. I need you to help me understand something. So how do we help these youngins? Because I thank, like I said in my rant, I thank my mom for the gift of music. Because in the music were love songs, our love songs, romance. And again, I pass it on to my daughter about what the possibility could be. And no, it's not all unicorns and rainbows, but there's something about a love song that'll make you, hey, it used to be called Baby Making Music. I'm dismayed. I am dismayed. So I'm really glad that my classmates sent this to me, because I'm thinking, what happened? But, I forgot about this. And I'm like, dang, we have been on this trajectory for a minute. For a minute. And no wonder it is as bad as it is. You got a song talking about I want to F you. The men talking about I want to F you. Then you got women talking about and doing all that kind of stuff that they doing. Is it any wonder we so jacked up? Confusing sliding into a DM with genuine interest. Confusing a dick pic or a tit pic as actual genuine interest. It's flying somebody to Florida or so they can get whatever as genuine interest. And then after all that, then we realize how much time we've wasted, okay? When we really ready for something. Y'all ready for something because I got some mine. Okay? I'm just saying. So I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't go for that bullshit. Now, you heard Mr. Randolph say, one of the things that let him know that I was the one is I made him a home cooked meal and I paid attention to what he liked. He didn't ask me to do it either. I paid attention to him, but again, how did he come to me? Even though I reached out to him, I shot my shot with him. But he came to me as a gentleman. He treated me with dignity and respect, and I carried myself as such. He didn't send me no bullshit songs like tattoo my name on it. And I didn't send him no bullshit song like, I can pay my bills. None of that. We communicated with each other through love songs as well as interpersonal communication. But we had a whirlwind romance. Look it up. Now look, some of y'all will say to my Kevinites, and those who are of the same ilk will say that romance is Princess Fairyland stuff, and I say bullshit to that. Now I will say this: every day ain't gonna be romance, but I've heard angry men talk about how he and his wife do romantic things. I've heard Rilla talk about how he and his wife do romantic things. Treating their ladies like what? Ooh, ladies. How about that? Bailey Boop said, Haley Boop says, it seems like respect is a foreign word. It is. And now when I read this, it lets me know that we had started down this path years ago, and it only became clear to me. I guess it's always it was clear in the last several years, but to notice that I saw the downward trend 9 years ago, and it's only gotten worse. It's only gotten worse because a man will say, these young men are like, well, I'm not taking no girl out because I'm not going to spend no money on this girl, especially if she ain't putting out. And the girls are saying, well, I'm not going to go out with a guy if he's not going to take, spend this amount of money on me. We're lost. We're lost. But yet we on both sides have these grand expectations of the other, and neither is realistic. Neither. I listen to some of the men and I'm like, where are you finding these women that y'all talking about? And then I listen to some of the women, like, where are you finding these men? Chances are a few places. Plenty of Fish, Instagram, Bumble, Facebook, YouTube, all these different, you're finding them and what do you call them, on the internet. Okay, listen, you know what time it is. I remember making love. You know what time it is. Courtesy, romance, and respect is the key. Okay, it is. I'm gonna tell you something. Mr. Randolph made me cry this morning, and he wasn't intend to, because my birthday is this Sunday, and our marriage anniversary is this Sunday, because we got married on my birthday. So I get a text, two texts in the past couple of days, and one was for a dinner reservation for Saturday, and one is for Sunday. So I thought he switched one for the other, and I said, "Babe, do we have two dinner reservations?" He said, "Yeah. Saturday's for your birthday, Sunday's for our anniversary." I started crying. I started crying. Why? That's romantic to me. And I don't even care where we go. He said, "Well, I'll cancel one if it makes you upset." you know? But it didn't start, it started off romantic with the small things. I don't know the scripture, but the Bible says something to the effect you have to be faithful over the small before you're allowed bigger or more. I submit we need to change our way of thinking. Now, even in the thing, and I wrote, I said, there are worse things than being single, and there are. Now, that I stood by, because I was not going to, particularly after what I had been through, I was not going to accept anything on the strength of having a male body part. I wasn't. So if that was going to be my lot in life, was to be single, I was going to make the best of it and live my life to the best of my ability, being the best person I could be for me. But was it what I wanted for myself? No, it wasn't. But I wasn't going to take shit either. I had taken that. So I'm telling you, men and women, if a man comes to you, women, and before something stupid comes out of his mouth, like "What's for dinner?" or "What you gonna do?" I don't agree. I don't like that. And if that's a test, then I was gonna fail every time at the gate. No more than if a man was trying to take me out, and I'm gonna say, "You gonna take me to so and so?" If I'm trying to test him to see what kind of money he was gonna, that he would, any type of man worth his salt would have failed every time, because to me that those are games. Those are games. Those are games, and ain't nobody got time for that. I was gonna fail every time. So again, I'm gonna submit to you, youngins and old heads. There is a place for much of the discussion that happens in the manosphere. I will concede that, particularly a woman's role, a man's role. But I will submit to you, you may want to be careful as to how that is applied in the real world. You may want to be careful. And what I mean by that is because, you know, whether you're a man or a woman, if you try to just come hard out in the paint, it's not going to work out well, because life is not like that. Life is not like that. It's not like that. There is give and take for sure. But if you come out the gate talking some foolishness like that, man, and this was an old head trying to tell me some, because, I'm like, what? And so it's just as, right, the righteous indignation is the same as these young men talking about how these women, and when I see these women talk about, well, if he take me to a chain restaurant, that's a not, I'm not going to go out with him. I would have the same righteous indignation if I was a man hearing that foolishness. There is no courting nowadays. But the reason why I'm here, pound for pound, if one young person, whether it be male or female, hears what I'm saying and agrees with it, because I'm gonna tell you, I started my second channel, a music channel, my music vault. It has surprised me how much has grown in the past month, and what surprises me even more is the number of young people who have commented on the songs that I've been reacting to. Real words, real lyrics, real instruments, real vocal and instrumental arrangements. So that has surprised me. Now, it doesn't surprise me that people in my age group and older, are reminiscing with me on these songs. But what really surprises me are the younger people who really are liking the music because of how it speaks to the soul. And it talks up and it kind of gives you insight of what dating was and courting was. Because if you listen to the manosphere, I'm just gonna keep it 1,000 wow. You would think that there's no such thing as love. You would think that there's no such thing as love and romance. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. I'm here to tell you it's not true. I'm also going to tell you it does require some work to sift through find the needle in the haystack, because there are quite a few hay seeds and stuff out there. Hello. Oh, if you as you're coming, please like my video. I'm tripping. I don't get caught up in that. I forget sometimes. So thank you for, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, that was my rant. Love does exist. Okay. Where that link? Okay, now if I drop the link, you got to cam up, because I'm not I don't want y'all to mess me up. Okay, I can't, I can't have y'all can't be messing me up. And I mean that. Oh, you think so? Thank you, Savannah. Okay, now I done dropped the link. I need to see you on camera for an extended period of time. I need to see some movement. No avatars, because it's not cracking. It's not cracking. So I'm going to wait to see if somebody wants to join in. But, I'm here to tell you it does exist. And I'm comforted by my sons-in-law, my biological daughter's husband, and my bonus daughter's husband. They're in there. Kevon is 30. My other son-in-law is in his 30s. But I see what they do for their wives. I see what their wives do for their husbands. So it is possible. But how do you find that out? You find that out by talking to a person. And I don't mean no DMs. I don't mean no text messages. I mean getting down and finding and having real conversations, because you'll know in pretty short order what that person is about. Oh, thank you, Savannah. You'll find out in pretty short order. If they're talking about only superficial or superfluous things, nothing with any substance, it lets you know out the bat, you need to move around. And see, the funny thing about that guy, who called me and asked me what's for dinner. He thought he was being funny. But check it out. We didn't know each other yet. So how you don't know if you can joke with me like that. I didn't know him like that. So again, you're getting to know a person. So you have to know the room. Hey, Silver, you got to work the room. You got to know your audience. Me and Mr. Randolph, and I'm telling you these I'm telling you these young people, because again, from 2013 to now, you better stop with mint condition, forever in your eye. You better stop. That's my favorite. Forever in your eyes. You know that one, pound for pound. You better stop. You, like I said, me and Mr. Randolph, when we started dating, we talked for hours and FaceTime, when he wasn't working. It's funny because, like I said, we never talked about, and some people, okay, it is important, but we never talked about superficial or materialistic things. I didn't. He didn't either. So by his own words, he shared with you about what. Okay, so y'all messing with me now. Peebo Bryson, look, y'all messing with me. But we had real conversations, and I think, but see, y'all young people. What I was trying, I got my thought now. 2013, we did not have the amount of communication in the sense of tech. We had some texting, but it wasn't to the extreme it is, to the extent it is now. Everything got to be posted, everything got to be tweeted, everything got. So because you're so busy putting stuff for everybody to see, you're not real making real connections. You're not. You're not. So if you're not making real connections, how can you be romantic? How can you experience romance? Oh my God, you doing too much. Quiet Storm. Ooh, we see, and check this out. Silver is a youngin, and the fact that he knows about this kind of music, I'm sure it helped him get his baby that's on the road with him. But again, I'm sure him and his wife had conversations, substantive conversation. I'm sure he didn't come out the gate with no foolishness. Uh, so what you cooking me for dinner? Before they even had a chance to go out on a date. And I'm sure she didn't come with, well, I need you to take me to Capitol Grill on our first date. Because I'm sure if she would have came out like that, there would be no Capitol Grills for later dates because there wouldn't have been a second date. If I would have came if I would have came like that to Mr. Randolph, there would have been no second date. Okay. See, you wrong for that. I'll tell you what I want y'all to bring for the cookout. See, you are wrong for that. But I can tell you right now, I want your wife to bring some of that cake that you was telling me about. Yeah, you wrong for that. Yes, he's coming to the cookout for Memorial Day. You are funny. Oh, so that's it. I ain't gonna keep y'all long, but I just want to share that with you because I'm like, wow, we have taken a downward turn. And I'm gonna tell you, men, if you meet a young lady and you try to have some serious conversations, flowers, and she starts talking some bull, you need to move around. Because I'm gonna tell you something. My daughter, I've shared with you all my daughter's first boyfriend was a Caucasian young man. His first date with her, when he picked her up from the house, he brought her some flowers and candy and brought me a plant. Huge impression. Huge. Why? I trained her right. So if you got some flea mail, I said it, flea male who don't know how to accept a gentleman, move around. Ladies, if you got a man approaching you talking some foolishness, particularly, and I'm not saying he ain't thinking about sex because Mr. Randolph will let you know he was thinking about it. But he didn't step to me with no foolishness out the gate. He wanted to get to know me. He wanted to spend time with me. We had some day conversation when he came over to my house and we talked. Didn't try nothing. Didn't mean he wasn't thinking about it. Didn't try nothing. If you got somebody that's coming on to you like that, women, and they have not even really, expressed and put forth any serious interest, you need to move around. Yeah. Leave her at the restaurant. And here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out on a date and the guy is on his phone or the girl's on his phone, you need to move around. Because that means he or she is not engaged in the moment. In the moment. Okay, Rush, I need to see you. I'm not getting my stuff shut down. So if you can't come up, you can't come up, honey. I'm sorry. I see you back there, but I can't. I don't do that. I don't do that. That's not what time it is. Hey, before the billions, red lipstick vibes, girl. Okay, listen. You know my husband's from New Orleans, so when I hear you talk, it cracks me up because he hasn't lived in New Orleans a long time, but every now and then he'll come out. He said, "Baby, I love it," or he'll say, "You hear me?" I like that too. So yeah, so he's from New Orleans, just like you. Okay, Silver says true. We almost fought over that to. Okay, hold up. True, we almost fought over that to go plate. Oh, to go play. Okay, listen. Okay, Lucky Marie's in here. No, I'm not taking no chances. Nisi, I need to see you. I want to make sure ain't nobody using your avatar. Okay, there you go. Okay, okay. Hello.
What's up? Did you watch my last live? I was singing Tyrone by Erykah Badu.
No.
What was you thinking when that song came out? Let's ask you.
Oh, what? Oh, I'm like, yeah. I was with her. Get your S.
I wanted to call because I know you you've been talking about the music and stuff. And I relate a lot to music too. Like when I'm going through things, sometimes it's like a counseling for me. Even the rap
Yes.
music, I ain't gonna lie.
Me
So
too. Some of
sometimes I be in my little baby or, the new rappers. But I was on Chantel yesterday, and do you know she didn't know who Curtis Blow was?
Well, she's from Jamaica, so you have to give her some grace.
No, I know, but I was like, it just dawned on me and stuff, and just talking to different people who don't know who Aaliyah is, certain like artists that seem popular. I'm in Vegas. I ran across so many people who didn't know who Tupac was.
Now
So
that's
I'm just like,
amazing to me.
I totally agree with you. Music is important, but also like in a lot of these conversations, we always reference like Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion as the voice of the whores, right? We're not looking at their lives, but we're talking about, oh, they're destroying women and the music is trash and this and that and the other, but they have a lot of positive conscious female rappers like Rhapsody. I want to say it's other girl, but I think she's underground still, so I won't say her name.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of other female rap. It just doesn't get the recognition because sex sells overall. So unless
And
you are
then,
talking about eating the groceries or spending money or something like that that's catchy, it's not really going to make too much money on mainstream. You really have to like just go with your following. Or
mhm,
do like the Nipsey Hussle route where he did talk about where he came from, but then he was the first rapper that I knew of, especially on the West Coast, that talked about real estate in his raps, escrow, things that were beneficial as far as financial literacy, as well as
mhm,
he discussed like the things he was doing in the community. And he was also independent. So I think if music would take a turn, if some people found a way to give knowledge or give positive things in their raps that was catchy. Like for example, I thought it was interesting. Cardi B not only doesn't let her children listen to her music or her child listen to her music, but she also expressed that she doesn't want to make that same type of music because she believes it releases demons. The same way Nicki Minaj stated that when she had a child and she, was married, she was in a different space. Her label and different people wanted her to still sing about the same things, and she was just like, "It's enough people singing about that. I'd rather sing about rap about other things." But sometimes when they've already paid the money and they require certain things from you, then you either have to do I have enough money or do I want to make more off of this just selling crap, so then that's why you have these artists just put out a crappy album just to get away from the label because
mhm.
that's what's selling to the youth.
Well, it definitely, and again, I don't know. Again, I thank my mom for the gift of music. Because of that, I appreciate so many different genres. And I remember, I don't know if you all know the artist Pink. Have you heard of her? She's a
I know you're
rock
not talking
artist.
about there you go looking pitiful. You talking about Pink, that Pink?
Yeah, she's white. Her name is but her she goes by Pink.
Yeah, yeah, and she white but she black.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when she came out, her music. I love Pink too. Her music was very different because that's what the label wanted her to do. It was more pop,
um oh
pop
was it
bubblegum type
was pop,
pop.
I guess.
But she wanted something different. So what she did, I think, after her first or second album, she left and she said, I want to do what I want to do."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when her stuff blew up. And again, for some, it took her a while, but she was true to herself. And her music does have meaning. And I think and even with rap, when we talk about with Nipsey Hussle, he had a lot of consciousness rap. But when we talk, I want to talk about the male female dynamic. Do you believe for a moment, because I think he was with Lauren London, do you believe for a minute, again, not knowing, that he brought that type of bravado and crassness into his relationship with her?
Oh, absolutely. If people don't think that he was cheating on her, I mean, he
Well,
didn't marry her. I
even if
love
he
Nipsey.
was, but I'm talking about like what I'm saying, when people are talking about the things in the manosphere, okay, that's cute. But you can't take all of that into real life because it doesn't apply.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's the same way you mentioned earlier, and I was on Anton's Fight Club when this got mentioned about how reckless it is in the logic for men to say they want wholesome marriageable women that sleep with them by date 3. I can go on 3 dates in a week. So it's just, not to mention, if we're so called concerned about not repeating the same cycles, it sounds like we have a large group of men who want to make baby mothers, right? They want to sleep with the Cardi B's. They want to, and let's be real, she was married before she had a baby.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, if we look at people's lives, so a lot of the times in the conversation, I think it just shows you the men, and then it shows you the young boys that really lack guidance. Like girls is so obvious to point out because we kind of wear our mistakes, we cry all over the place. We always, you know what I'm saying? Boys, a lot of the times it's different because they're raised, they can't show their emotions in the same type of way. So a lot of the times they do it through sex.
absolutely. Mr. C said, I don't agree with that rule. And, interestingly enough, Mr. Randolph didn't either. And again, like I said earlier, we have to be mindful of what we allow into our gate, our ear gate, our eye gate, because we hide it in our heart and then it manifests in our actions. Somebody say, because I was asking Mr. Randolph, about what did he think about the, sex after the 3 date rule. He says, well, I'm not sure I would want to be anyone that would have sex with me after the third date. He said, because the question would be, how often have they done that?
Hello. I mean, that's what I would think, as far as the behavior, especially if we're talking about the reckless behavior, we're talking about where they sow their seed. It just seems like you're asking the fertilizer not to grow a plant after you just put a seed in here. Like, that's how I listen to stuff. Like, we're blaming the person who carrying the seed because she chose to carry the seed. And I get that, but it's just like in the conversation, if we're saying women should have sex that soon, and we also hear a lot of men don't like to use protection, I'm a little bit concerned about what the overall message is, or who my daughter is going to be dating when she get older.
Well,
Like a lot. Imagine how many little girls, especially in our community, they're going to be told to date out.
and here's the thing, though. I mean, and that's one of the things I also want to bring up. I say, as much as things change, they stay the same. Same ish, different day. Me in my 20s and 30s, same thing. Men didn't want, if you want to be intimate, men didn't want to, use protection or use condoms. And then they expect the woman to have birth control pills, and we should protect ourselves. So this is not a new thing. And
But
then
see,
men
birth
wonder how
control.
come you ended up pregnant. Well, you ended up pregnant because you had sex.
Yeah,
Okay, that's how it happened.
absolutely. Now, and the thing with birth control is that it's everything is on the woman to do to her body. That's unnormal. It's unnatural to be putting an IUD in your body. It's so many serious situations where women can't even bear children. They have to have hysterectomy, not to mention fibroids when you have to have IUDs, or just different things that take place. A depot shot, I tried to do that just because of weight gain. I heard it, make it get thick. But girl, I took it twice and I had the most excruciating cramps I ever had in my life, where I was screaming at the top of my lungs and couldn't walk because of the shot. And once I stopped taking it, it subsided, went away. And so a lot of the
Mhm.
times when they say, oh, women can do these things, women can get an abortion, I have to do all these things to my body. Wouldn't it make more sense if you just was more cautious of where you stuck that thing or put a condom on it? I mean, I don't understand why
Absolutely.
is it the woman has to do all these things to her body and the man just gets to go around, and we're supposed to think like they're just mindless idiots who can't, think outside of their penis. That's kind of like where the conversation goes. So when you did say something a minute ago about your ears being the gateway, I thought
Mhm.
about social media, how often you scroll up and down and you just see booties, you see thick women, you see all those
Okay.
things that make you aroused. So you start to
Mr.
your
Silver
logic is
just
off.
said that. He said Mr. Silver said men are judging women off of what they post. And again, if all you see is tits and ass, and then when you see that, a lot of times men may not. I don't want to generalize and speak in totality, but they may approach many women with the same type of mindset because women objectify themselves. I'm not even going to say men objectify women. Women objectify themselves, and
Oh
who
yeah,
reaps
I have
who
definitely
reaps the
done that.
reward of that? Many women who are not objectifying themselves. I'm just saying.
No, I've had to do that a lot. Just in marketing, when I sold clothes, I have to look like an Instagram model. Even to this day, in these spaces, people are pulling up old photos. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I look good in them, but I'm just,
Well, of course you do. But again, that's what we do. Hey,
but
something,
it
something.
is kind of like, um, it's kind of like I'm not what I wear, but nobody knows who you are. You are what you wear at the end of the day, because that's what we see.
Especially in a time like now because everything is on the internet. Let me read a couple of comments. we were talking about prosperity preaching last night on Black Man Unfiltered. People nowadays prosperity date, and that's with the attitude of what have you done for me? What have you done for me lately? Shout out to Janet Jackson. And it's a travesty. But I'm saying to you, what requires now that it didn't require then, it requires more work to find out who are real and who are fake. It requires you to find out, is someone really liking me or trying to get to know me because they're genuinely interested, or if they just want to see what they can get out of me. That's what it requires. It requires not to just take the first couple of nice words that comes out of a person's mouth to say, okay, they're really interested or they're genuinely interested. You're going to have to, men and women are going to have to do what they say, vet. And as my mom would say, you have to go through seasons with people to see what they're really about. And, I'm not saying forever, but you will be able to see, listen up. In most jobs, maybe different now, a probation period was at least 90 days. At least. You will get some glimpses into the kind of person they are within 90 days. Because even a facade, there will be minor hairline fractures in the facade in the first 90 days. Mark my words. Am I lying? I need to put a 1 in the chat if you think I'm lying.
No, that I think that's true, unless it's like something deeper, like those type of stories where you watch on ID Network and they was married to a man for 17 years, but you weren't really married to him because he had a wife somewhere else. So right. It'd be unless it's like something deep like that, but overall. But see, what do you think of this? Because with the 90-day rule, men typically don't want to wait 90 days. So this is how it goes. When you first date them, they stated that on his Fight Club panel, like if you go on a date with your husband, right, you guys didn't meet. The first time you went on a date, let's say you were dating other people, not having sex, you were just keeping your options open. You could have went on a date with somebody you may have liked last week when you meet your husband, They expect you to cut everyone off and just date them past when the first date happens. But they can still date and sleep with other women. You can't sleep with anybody until like the third date or whenever you have sex with them, but their options are open until they decide you are a wife, is what I understood. So my question to you is, would you, if you were dating, be open to cutting off your options the first time you go on a date with the guy? Like, you don't know him. This is your first time you met him.
No, I'm going to tell you what me and Mr. Randolph did. When we started dating, Tommy B, I need you to see you on camera, hon. Okay. I know Tommy. Okay.
Hey, okay. Tommy.
When me and Mr. Randolph, hey, when me and Mr. Randolph started dating, we had gone on a couple of dates and I had some prospects, if you will. But once it looked as if we really were making a connection, it wasn't after the first date. It wasn't after the second date. But when we start really making a connection and we could see that we communicated with each other and we both agreed that we were going to just focus on each other. And a mature person is okay with that. But it wasn't out the gate after the first date. Absolutely not, because we didn't know each other. He didn't know me. I didn't know him.
Yeah, that's how I felt. If I don't know you, I'm not cutting off anything personally. Hey, Tommy, you can go. I'll shut up.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was gonna speak from the male's point of view. Or at least from mine. I'm more I guess you say kind of what would you say? I guess kind of like understanding, I guess. So usually if I meet a female, I assume they talking to other people because that's just how stuff goes. The only time that I assume that that's not happening is when I come to her and I tell her that I want it to be exclusive. Outside of that, I don't have no expectations for you, and I don't assume you to have any from me. I'm starting to understand now from listening to different people that ain't how everybody get down. So it is what it is. But for me, even if a female tells me, because of course, every time you had that conversation with them, it's, oh, what do you mean? As if there's nobody around. And it could very well not be. Honestly, the way that my brain operates, I'm still think it's somebody around. And not even in a bad way, just as life. So once I get to a point of talking to you and feeling like, okay, I want to be exclusive with you, then I'll have a conversation with you and pretty much tell you, if there's other dudes around, you could tell them to kick rocks or whatever. Um, but I also was going to tell you, Lucky, I think the reason why a lot of people put a lot of responsibility on the women as far as the pregnancy, and it's not fair, and we know life ain't fair, but to be real with you, you guys bear the burden of what's made. And as unfair as it is, that dude could pick up and bounce out. And I mean, you can go looking for him and try to get on papers, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, you 9 times out of 10 gonna have to deal with that kid 24/7 and not that dude. So that's why they more try to tell the women to be more careful than the guys, because unfortunately the guys could dip, do their thing and then bounce out. Whereas with you guys, once you produce that baby, unless say you give it up for adoption, something like that, you stuck with that baby, and the stresses that come along with that without having any help and stuff. So I think that's more why they kind of push that.
So I wanted to ask Tommy, so going forward with that, and I understand that because we are typically left with the child, even though technically speaking, nobody has custody of the child, even though she had it. You have to go and get custody. So what if more women just drop their kids off at the man's house and they decided to have men put them on child support? Would that
Listen,
change the way, like, because you gotta get what I'm saying? If it's no type of accountability, not saying you're not taking account, I'm just saying in general in these conversations where men are taking accountability of, you know what, I only want to sleep with women that I would be okay being a having her child, or her having my child, or I would only sleep with a woman that I can see myself marrying. We're not hearing that. We're hearing men say we'll smash all of them, the ones we don't want, the ugly ones, the fat ones, the everybody. But whoever gets pregnant, it's on them. That's what we're hearing. So what if the message started to tell women like, okay, you know what? If I get pregnant, I'm gonna just drop my baby off with him or at his mother's house, and I'm a kick rocks, and he gonna have to find me. Would more men kind of feel like the burden is then on them?
it's possible. The only thing with that is, I mean, you guys kind of have you guys are more, I say, sensitive about the motherhood thing than men are. And I say that because like in my situation with my kids, like, oh my god, you can't say a half a thing about their mother and they have a whole total breakdown. Meanwhile, I'd have been on Facebook and been all kinds of this and that, and I just going about my day. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, as long as I know what I'm doing, I could care less what anybody else think. You know what I'm saying? But I notice for mothers in general, like, don't come for their motherhood. And so because of that, I think it's less likely for them to even end up doing that, for that to even be a possibility. Because the chance of anybody looking down on them as a mother, like that's almost like a scarlet letter to most mothers.
And
Well,
you're right.
absolutely.
I have to agree with that. I think it happens, but it is very rare. Very, very rare. Hey, let me get this comment real quick. Silver says, I never had to wait 90 days, a woman really, but when a woman, but when a woman really, okay, I'd special. I can't. Okay, I'm trying to get it.
He means
Okay,
I never had to wait 90 days, but when a woman really is special, you will
okay,
wait. My wife,
yes.
my
Yeah,
wife made me
you know
wait two
what?
years, but I didn't make it
So
official.
with
Okay,
that one,
hold on, Tony. He
go
says
ahead, go ahead.
my wife made me wait 2 years, but I didn't make us official till I was done playing the field. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think with a lot of this messaging, you gotta kind of look at the messengers. So being in this space, I think we've already qualified that it's a lot of dudes out here that ain't even having sex, like period. Which was a surprise to me, but apparently that's how it's going down.
It's
So first
surprised to
off,
me too, to be honest. I was really
so
surprised by that.
what it's looking like to me, to be honest with you, and I'm gonna keep it PC, but it's looking like it's a bunch of dudes that's trying to, basically make women sleep with them easier.
Hey, speak
Because
on it.
for me, so this is how I look at it. Because I'm not saying that it's the ideal situation that, oh, after 3 days we sleep together, but it's looked at differently for men. If we rocking, if we've been, on the phone all week, we done went on a date, we on the phone all week, another week, we go on a date, like, and you got a connection, that's one thing. All men know though, when you'd have been with that chick and it ain't been no kind of chemistry and you still hit, that's the ones that ain't respected. And I think that's the biggest difference. And I think because a lot of these cats, um, I guess you say don't come from that type of a cloth, then they don't even understand that part of it. You know what I'm saying? So for me in general, I don't necessarily even judge anybody unless, like I said, if we're going on, if I met you Friday and then our first date Saturday, and like I said, it ain't no chemistry or nothing, then yeah, I'm gonna probably be like, you know what I'm saying? But the date thing is also weird too, because with as much as people working and stuff, 3 days could be over a whole month. You know what I'm saying? It could be over 3 weeks. It's not necessarily like 3 days in one week type of deal. And in between that, you could be making a hell of a connection just conversating. Like most of the females that I didn't like really connected with like that is the ones where you like old school high school days on the phone to like 2 in the morning, and you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
connected. So
You hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first.
exactly. Or just falling asleep on the phone together nowadays on FaceTime. You feel me? So
I fall asleep on anybody on the phone. Like for real.
Well, you know what,
But
Tommy, you so right, because when me and Mr. Randolph started dating, he's a truck driver. So he was on the road. So that's how we communicated on the phone from when he was, stopped for the night. But again, that's how we did. Let me read this comment from Pound for Pound. 3 to 5 long conversations with me, and I'll find out enough to make a decision. The art of conversation is asking strategic and specific questions in a casual, nonchalant way, and I'm pretty skilled. That's exactly right, because you don't want to feel like you're interviewed. But like I said, and Tommy said, you gonna know pretty quickly if there's some type of connection within the first few conversations, and if you're having conversations even before the first date.
I think also I never really worry about I look at the person who's saying it. Most
Mm-hmm.
of these men are doing that 3 date rule because they're not used to having sex. So they're making women who want serious relationships in marriage, whichever one you believe in, they're making them think that the smart thing to do to get there is to sleep with men early, when no, it's just men who can't get the box just off their character, off their demeanor, off their swag, off how they present themselves, or you just really got to have the juice. I mean, you either got the juice or the sauce, or you don't have neither. So you got men who literally have to wait till they get a certain amount of money to go pay for it. And then they will also complain how women just want us for our money. No, you just only thing we want from you is your money, because you don't have nothing else. I don't like sitting at this table talking to you. You probably are awkward. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not factoring in those details. She probably got to take a few shots to even sleep with you.
Stop
So
the
if you really
madness.
look at a lot of these men, you can really just tell they're not really living that life. They're saying the talking points, but men who actually are used to getting women, their intentions of like being in front of a woman and her having sex with him is not a big deal. He's really just trying to get to know her. It might irritate her, or him, should I say, if she keep trying to be all over him having sex and he trying to have a real conversation, because he's used to getting it.
Yep. Check. Let me read this really quick. What the Funks is responding to, I think, to Silver says that is backwards thinking. Honestly, 2 years is it's not insane for them, because
yeah,
that's not
um,
insane for them, because check it out. He said my wife, so apparently it was not insane for them. And again, Mr. Randolph, he didn't wait that long for me, but he said what made him, one of the things that impressed him about me, I made it clear. I had standards. I didn't know what he had been dealing with before me. I didn't care. But later he shared with me that women was sending titty pics, want to jump his bones real quick, and I wasn't down for that. I'm not to say
Oh,
that I
because he
didn't have.
had the juice.
Okay. And I'm not saying I wasn't attracted to him, but again, I had standards because I see women. I don't know about women nowadays, but women coming up in my day, we were taught, I'm not saying that we always went by it because we didn't, but we were taught to be virtuous. Now, I'm not saying we always did it because we didn't, but we were taught to not just do it with anybody and everybody because again, you didn't want to be thought of as easy. You didn't. And so I'm not saying that I was, a virgin forever because I wasn't, but I conducted myself in such a manner that you wouldn't know. I mean, you would know I wasn't virgin, but I'm just saying I wasn't loose is what I'm trying to say.
You carried
So
yourself respectfully.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like, and I said this on, I think I was on JB and them show a couple months ago, but I never even go in with any expectations. I never bring up sex first, like, and that's on purpose because I don't want to look like the thirsty dude or whatever. So, and I got enough of a brain in the conversation to where I don't have to be like, oh, would you like this or all that goofy stuff. Um, this is just like a weird space, I guess. And so when you talk to a lot of these cats and you hear a lot of this stuff, I think a lot of people got to be careful. Just remember, like, this YouTube, this ain't like the real world, because a lot of this stuff, it just, for me, I've been trying to add it up and it don't add up a lot of times. It just comes off as weird or whatever. So then when I hear them explain about, all of these guys that don't have sex, and then you start looking at some of the people who are, making these statements or these points, then it literally shows you, what you're dealing with.
You're muted.
Mickey writes here, I think men would have better results if they left sex off the table. And here's the thing. Let's be clear. We women know when we want to give it to you. Straight up, no chaser. We do. Pretty early on.
Exactly. On. We work backwards. You can
we
have it first.
Know. Yeah, we know if we find you attractive, we find you interesting, we know out the gate we wants to let you have it.
Mm-hmm. But then it's up to you to talk yourself out of it.
Like in school, when you start the semester, everybody has an A at the beginning of the semester. And determine if you keep that A is based on your efforts throughout the semester. Peep game. Because I'm going to tell you something. When Mr. Randolph kissed me that one good time, I'm like, oh, it's about to crack off. I had to get myself, and I said, I pushed him out the door. I pushed him out the door, but I knew right then, oh, I want to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
But then you try to keep it like so he didn't know that you wanted to.
You can't.
You got to be respectful.
You could try, but you can't.
Well, here's the thing. Wanted to keep it where is it we didn't want to come off as easy because again, we want to set ourselves apart from the other. I wanted to set myself apart from the women who were trying to jump his bones. I wanted to set myself apart from the women who were showing titty pics and stuff like that. So he probably knew, but again, I carried myself as, like you said, Tommy, not to come off as, thirsty as hell, but I'm like, he kissed me. I literally melted. I had to push him out the door.
So would you say, because women generally want to in the beginning, would you say we're easy? Or it's because if you're trying to not act like you don't want it, and the other girl really just showing that she want it. So what defines her as easy if the easy girl and the not easy girl both want it in the beginning? Are you saying like it's? Go ahead, Tommy. I want one of y'all.
Oh, my bad. No, I that's why I personally don't judge. Like, I let grown folks do grown folks. I'm not nobody, judge. I don't wear no robe. I don't judge nobody. I let people do them. But like I had an ex, and she told me pretty much she hit me with the line like, "Oh, it ain't gonna be that da 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 da." But like TJ said, like the first time we kissed, when I drove off, I was like, "Oh, okay, I know what it is." Just because I just knew what it was. You feel me? And it ain't even like the very next day or the next time we saw each other, but I just knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? So you could try to hide it or whatever, but like y'all terrible at it. Like just be honest. Especially, I learned that in sales though, because when you in sales, they tell you to always go after the woman because when y'all want something, it's very hard for y'all to hide it. Like y'all get excited, y'all get super happy, etc., etc. So I mean, but this is stuff from somebody who like I've had success with women. So I haven't. I'm not one of these dudes with like a sob story of oh they don't like me, etc., etc. But generally, yeah, you can tell, when you have a female. And to that other comment, that goes both ways as far as like thinking you would have better results if you didn't think about sex because that's definitely both ways.
And we're going to think about it and see. I come from a generation where is that, and I'm not saying we always went through because we didn't. But I'm from a generation where we wanted you to respect us in the morning. So even if we knew we wanted it, we didn't want to come off as easy. Now, maybe it's a backwards mindset from Generation X. I'll take it. I don't give a damn. But that's part of it. But particularly as you become adults, you're going to have sexual desires. That's not even the issue. You do. But you want to exercise some control, women and men, is not to be seen as easy. Is because again, even Mr. Randolph said, if I would have had, say for instance, we would have gone by that 90-day rule and I would have had sex after 90 days, his question would have been, well, if she did that with me, I wonder how many others did she do it with? And we didn't go by the 90-day rule. We just went when it was clear that we were going to be together and there was a connection and we took the next step. We did not have a timeline of whatever. It just flowed. But I think what we really want to focus on more than anything is not the act itself, but the connection before the act and the kind of person that you are connecting with before the act. Let me get a Silver in here. What you got?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you
Um,
doing?
good. I'm gonna just be honest. Something that we don't really talk about in the manosphere, man. Most men don't know how to choose or pick a good woman. So if she's having you wait 90 days or 60 days, you got to understand: is this a good woman to wait for? Is it not to wait for it? Are you looking for her just to pump and dump? Or are you looking to get serious in your life and have a rib that that God took and made a woman? So let's just be honest, man. A lot of dudes don't know how to pick up women, you know. And for that guy was to say, why would I wait 2 years? Like I said in the comment, man, my girl was a virgin. She had a dad in her life. She's seen her mom and dad grow up married. She's seen her grandparents married. So I was willing to wait 2 years. And if you read that comment, I said I didn't take her seriously until I got done playing the field because I didn't want to mess up a good fruit that God had for me. So if you read that comment and you go over and look it through, you can't always treat somebody bad and expect good whenever you want something good in life. You know what I mean? Karma does come back to you.
Boy,
Peep
you
game
are
on this.
blessed, okay? Ain't that a
Yeah.
word?
Check this out. How many of y'all pay? How many of y'all watch Angry Man? Any of y'all?
Yeah,
I
I do.
do.
I watch it.
I do. Mhm.
Okay. Angry Man, a while back ago, I don't know if he was on my show or I called in on his, but we were having a conversation where he said it's interesting because men will talk about, and this is what he said, men will talk about that they don't want to, if they don't get the panties after the third date, they lose interest. Okay. But then they'll get with the woman that'll give it up quick and doesn't realize that the person that had virtue and standards are the ones that have them waiting, that they lose interest in, as opposed to the one that gave it to them out the gate. I'm just saying.
Well, that was the
Exactly.
thing because their interest was the sex, not in the actual partner, like he just said. And that was the same thing I said on the Fight Club, where it logically didn't make sense because if you raise your daughter, your granddaughter, whoever, to value themselves, we're basically saying, oh, we know you're not a virgin, so you shouldn't then make a different decision, which is remain abstinence to make sure, okay, the last time I had sex too soon or whatever, it didn't work out. And like he said, you're done. He was done playing when he decided to get the right type of woman. If you are done playing, or you actually are trying to find somebody that you would love to have sex with for the rest of your life, not just over the course of the next few months, then it don't a fling, then you're looking for different qualities, and you understand that the sex part is automatically going to be there. We both want to have sex, but do I want to really be in another pandemic with you every day? Do I really want to be with you for years, and then when you can't poop or something, I gotta wipe your butt, I gotta do all this lovey stuff, something happened, I'm on your emergency do I really love you like that, or do I like the sex? Some people just get along in the sex, and they said, you know what, men's love works outward. They have to sleep with you first, then their feelings follow. So I think that going forward, women who hear that, if a man has to have sex with you first, I don't think women should date them. I think since we hold the power and it's our choice, I think women should keep their legs closed until they meet a man who is willing to wait until he finds her of value.
That quote was made by a pure cornball. That's a complete farce.
What?
That a man falls like nah, because like any dude that have been out there like that, you done like been laid up with a chick that you wish would get the hell out. Like period. Like so that's 100% off. And you got I ain't gonna say all, but I got like female friends that I kick it with, like that I can chill with, and we can chop it up or whatever, and it's good or whatever. We just ain't on that type of time. So I don't think that our love comes through our penis. Like I think no, I think that's some lame.
Let me get a couple of comments in here. Eugene wrote, he says, I told this story on Anton's channel, but when I was 25, I liked this woman who happened to be 10 years older than I was. I expressed that to her. My plan was to get to know her to make a long story short. I missed something. Okay. Maybe I missed something, Eugene. Expound, or if you want to come up and expound on it, I would love to hear. Let's see what else we got here.
I think what the phone kept asking you for the link.
Oh, you did? Let me put it back in here. Okay.
Let me ask Tommy
Okay.
something. Tommy, how long did you know your baby mama before you got pregnant? Before you got her pregnant, had a kid?
Shit.
And where did you meet her? How long were y'all dating before you had a kid with her?
I met her through my best friend. It's his wife's sister. We knew each other for a couple years before we dated, and then we dated for I think like 2.5 years. But like I explained it to everybody, because I got two. My first one, I knew me and her was together for 5 years, I think. But I explained to everybody like, so not only did I know her, I knew her family. I knew exactly how their family operated. I knew if they was gonna be on some weird stuff, they family would check them on that. So I've never had to go through the stuff that I hear some of these guys talk about, like I can't get my kids, I'm on child support, uh, this, that, and the other. I've never went through none of that. I ain't on no paperwork to this day. I get my kids, my little ones, they just left now, but I pretty much had them split in half. And then my older one, I get her on the weekends and during the summer. But uh, zero issues as far as like custody, anything like that. Um, as far as like I ain't doing no weird shit like hanging out in the bushes trying to see who she messing with, or all the weird stuff that I hear that these dudes be doing.
What?
You said hanging
Well,
out in
you
the
know the
bushes.
stories you hear about the BDs, like once they get a new boyfriend, all of a sudden they want to come see their kids and all that
Oh
weird stuff.
yeah.
Like, yeah, like nah, like she do her, I do me, and it like we're cordial. So like when she had COVID, I went over there, I dropped her off some soups and stuff, etc., etc. When I had COVID, she did the same. Like it's, you feel me? It's like we good. It ain't got to be bad blood, but I think it's like
So why?
that because I knew who she was, and then I knew her family, and I knew where she came from, and then I knew too that if she was on some BS, her family wouldn't back that up as well with either one of them.
So why didn't it work with the first one then? If you knew her and everything was all cordial, straight.
Let me get. I'm sorry.
To
Go
be
ahead. Go
honest
ahead.
with you, after going through therapy, I had some like attachment issues. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I had came to a point to where um I don't know, not to get too deep into it, but like I ain't trust a lot of people. So what would happen is when people got too close, I just like push away. I consciously didn't know I was doing that. I went to therapy and then they started explaining that stuff because some stuff happened, et cetera, in life or whatever. And so I kind of had got that mind state. So I would get to a point to where when people got too close, I would just push away. And then I got to a point to where I damn near just like if I got with somebody, I would find reasons to get out. Like, oh, I stub my toe in the bed. You pissed me
You
off. I'm
you
gone.
you'll
Like,
I
sabotage it
had
before
that
they did.
bad.
You'll say, yeah, I used to do that too. Hey, let me get a couple of more comments and then I'm gonna bring up what the funk and Eugene. So Haley Boop says, Rise, our community is suffering because it seems as if both men and women don't date with intentions of marriage, and they don't. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of it comes with, like I stated in my what I read from that Facebook post almost 9 years ago. I'm not saying the music is the sole reason of it, but the music is a reflection of society and vice versa. So if everything is being equated to from the Stevie Wonder lyrics of "I can see forever in your eyes" to "Let me eat it like groceries," then of course that's what you think. You're not thinking about marriage. You're thinking about sex.
That's not fair, TJ. Y'all had sexual healing.
It was even subliminal though. Shit. I mean, shoot.
Yeah, I had R. Kelly too. Hold on now.
nah, hey,
Listen, I'm talking about before R.
R.
Kelly.
Kelly was ours.
nah, TJ, I'm gonna tell you this. Listen, my
What?
auntie came over one day. She put some music on and started cleaning up. And I almost had to close my ears when that man got to start licking it. I was like, wait, this what y'all was listening to? Y'all talking about army?
Can you
They was
woo
nasty.
woo woo?
Okay, woo woo woo. Again, unless you, I didn't know what woo woo means. So again, it was
Painted
subliminal.
grass.
Subliminal. Yes. Turn
Oh, so
off
you
the
mad
light.
that we straightforward with it? I got it.
Turn off the lights.
Oh no,
My
I gotta find this. I
darling.
gotta find this song for you. I can't remember off the top of my head, but no, this was straight to the point. It shocked me. I was like, wait, what? Oh, it was. I was like, dang, I didn't expect it.
What song was that?
I gotta add something. I can't remember
Send
it,
it to her
but
music vault.
yeah, I remember. I remember. I listened to it. I was like, yo, what is going on?
I am talking about the Stevie Wonders, the LTDs, the Earth, Wind, and Fires. I'm talking about, Norman Connors. I'm talking about real music, even Marvin Gaye. I'm talking about some, Anita Baker. I'm talking about that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's welcome What the Funk and Eugene to the platform.
Welcome, welcome.
Y'all there? Oh, wait a minute. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I coming?
They can hear you now. Somebody sound like a chipmunk. Who is it?
That's
It's
you,
Eugene.
Jane.
Eugene sound like a chipmunk. Okay, what the funk? What you got?
Okay, I think we got to be honest about this, and I think this is something that we've been taught by the older men that raised us, and it's like we're taught to not spend money getting sex with women and try to get sex as quickly as possible before she changes her mind. Now, if we're logically speaking, it makes absolute sense to wait and get to know a person before you start bonding through sex. But unfortunately, with the whole playboy culture that we've been taught and the whole, pimp culture that kind of came into the 70s, young men have been taught for about a good 40 to 50 years not to really wait for most women. And actually, you want to get what you can get without putting the most amount of effort in, because unfortunately, there's been a whole finesse on the women's side. It's like they'll get all these benefits and not give in and not give sex. So it's been like this weird teeter-tottering back and forth. And I think that's where we're stuck at as a culture right now. And both sides need to kind of completely pull back from our sexual desires and realize that the sex is going to be good if the connection and chemistry is there. But I think too many times, men and women, we both think that we have to try out the car before we're willing to even have an idea of committing to that person. And I think that's what we need to rethink a whole lot. And women too, they'll be like, well, I ain't going to cut off my options until I know he can do this in the sack. And men will do the same thing. Like, hey, I ain't going to cut off these other girls until I know that this girl can do this in the sack. And that's where I think we are at this impasse.
And before anybody, I will say, and again, may he rest in power. That was one of the bones of contention I had with Kevin. I'm like, what stop that. Telling them to, have, sex out the gate. No, I didn't like that. I didn't like that because, again, it's void of real connections. And I understand where you're coming from with the funk, in the sense of the finessing that some women do and some men do. And again, men, going back to when I was growing up, I have two brothers. One's older, one's younger. My dad told them to get as much as they could, but I bet not me. So I get it. But now we're at a point that sexuality is so, I can't even think of a word for it. It is just, I can't
blatantly overt.
Yeah, but I was thinking of something even more disgusting than that. But but there's nothing virtuous in it, or even sensual or romantic about it. It is just a
it's animalistic. It's animalistic. Yeah. We're like monkeys fucking, instead of it actually being about connection and love. And we can still have connection and love and, have some monkey fucking. But I think that in general that, what? It's a balance. You gotta have you gotta have some balance of some monkey fucking. But I think that in general that we're very animalistic with our sexual nature. And I think that is where I think the Black church was supposed to come in. I think the Black church was supposed to be the ones that are kind of supposed to keep us grounded in our perversions. And I think they completely dropped the ball on that, because our pastors were doing the animalistic sex as well. And we saw it as hypocrites.
Stop the madness. But it's true. Okay. But it's true. Eugene, what you got?
Well, you talked a little earlier about the music from our generation, and there were songs about sex. But let me tell you something; those songs, the language sounded beautiful back in the days, and it sort of reflected, how we looked at it, back in the days. We talk about making love and being smooth, when we do it and stuff like that. But nowadays it's like bam, 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 I'm like, that to me, was a turnoff. People look at it as recreation now, whereas I think years earlier, we look at it as, part of being in a relationship, as sort of like an icon, if you will, of a relationship. And that's always how I've tried to look at it. I told you that story about the older woman, and I try to look at it then, but she initiated it, so I didn't even see that coming. I did not see it coming.
Well,
okay, I gotta.
We women know what we want. Generally, we know pretty early on if we're attracted to you, and if we're gonna let you have it. It's your win to lose, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta holler at y'all like I do like the people of my generation, because what we generally like to do is we like to romanticize when we come up. My generation, they talk about the violence these days, and we literally grew up with double the violence. When I grew up around, the late 80s, early 90s. My uncle, who is, in his mid 60s, was really, really pimping out there. I'm talking about, if most of y'all don't know, I'm from Oakland. We had something called San Pablo Avenue. And these chicks that y'all think is fine on Instagram, that's what was walking down the street half naked on that street. So we not gonna make it seem like it was just all love and flowers and like marshmallows back then. Like it was still some smashing going on,
Definitely
and it was
sugar
still
free
some
and some.
debauchery, and
Of
those
course.
men were looked up to.
Oh, of course. I mean, I've shared, and it ain't no secret. My dad was a pimp and probably knows the one you're talking about in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Seriously,
okay, yeah,
Mine
yeah, yeah.
was too.
probably knows the one you're talking about.
My
But
uncle was.
but here's the thing, though: the majority of it was not like that. We even had 304s, as you call them, that weren't making money. That's not a new thing either.
But
But
was it?
what I'm talking about, like Eugene said, when we talk for the majority, when we think about sex, it was a pentacle of being in a loving relationship. Not to say those other things didn't happen, because they clearly did. But a lot of times, when we talk about marriage, when we talk about loving relationship, we're talking about those relationships when you slow dance. And after the slow dance, it's about to crack off. But you slow dance, there was romance, there was that. There's none of that now.
That was
None of
Oh
it.
normal
no, you're
wood.
100% right on that one. I don't think they even
No,
call
it
it
is.
slow dance
There's a
anymore.
little bit of that. You just gotta go to the Spanish community.
Nah,
I'm
that,
not
that ain't slow
Spanish.
dancing. No, that's salsa.
Yeah, you gotta get some bachata in
Slow dance is when you get to go slow and you get to grab some booty and all like
and
that's
some
the slow
merengues.
dance.
It's so
So that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. And
But also,
maybe,
TJ, I
yeah,
have to say too, I think that secrets were hidden a lot better back then too. And one thing that I respect my pops for is he always kept it 100 with me. So one thing he would always tell me is we would just have these random conversations, and we was talking about like the Maury thing, and he said, I can imagine how many of these cats raised kids that wasn't theirs back then because there wasn't no test. You know what I'm saying? Like the saying, mama's baby, daddy's maybe, that wasn't invented in my time. That was before I came. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Or the story about the milkman, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff was around before this generation came.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a lot more hidden because I think, like you saying, like it was more taboo to even be like that. But I
Yes.
I
The
think people would,
cleanup woman.
yeah, yeah. So I
But
think people were shaking and baking. I think they just kept it on the low a lot more. Because I even unfortunately
they
started
didn't
hearing
they
stories
didn't
about my
carry
grandfather.
themselves as hoes. It's kind of like
Well,
Miss Monroe on Eve's Bayou.
Secretary.
yeah, and again, all that happens. I'm not denying any of it. The secretary, the affairs, all of it. In addition to that, though, we had more marriages. We had more families. We had, and I'm not saying perfect marriages, because there's no perfect marriage. But for whatever was wrong with us, we had more families. We had, even the husband and wife that would be arguing and stuff. They would have one of those parties in their house, and they slow dance into the something.
I do
We ain't
want
got
to
none of
add
that.
though, there is in that generation, we also have to factor in how were they teaching their children? What did those kids see in that relationship? Because most of the time, without sharing, I'm just gonna say older people in my family, we knew they was cheating. We knew that such and such was sleeping with such and such his cousin, and then when they come around Christmas, we gonna act like auntie such and such wasn't sleeping with her sister's husband. So it was a lot of things that happened that kids were aware of, and then as things get older, we start to not want that particular life, and we also look to sex as a way to express our emotional trauma that we experienced from growing up. So a lot of the times if we see adult couples, yeah, that's how they interact. Sometimes we only seen mom and pop get along when they were in a sexual space, but other than that, they didn't get along. So then you start to have people who don't want those relationships. Most of the time, we can get along through sex today, but other than that, it's like I can't stand her ass, or I can't stand his ass, or it's like, okay, well, why you not leaving him? You have songs that just say, "Girl, cause dick too bomb." Like, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that now,
Or
where
it's cheaper to keep her.
that too, so well, now they putting women on child support and spousal support too. But I think that overall, like, we have to address just in these conversations how a lot of us have tried to fill a certain void through sex, whether it be the man feeling a certain way about his mother, so he's doing women a certain way. I'm not saying all, or it's the woman feeling a certain way about her father, so she's looking for something through the sex with a man, or she's misguided on what love is, and that's her only way to get him to like her. I mean, there's different things that are deeper. We're not just sleeping with each other because we want to have sex all the time. Yes, we do. But sometimes it's a deeper reason as to why we're having sex. It's more of an emotional thing where we're like, okay, imagine how many females have felt, okay, he definitely liked me. We go together, our feelings. And they like, dude, like they telling a girl, like, girl, I just smashed you. You ain't my chick.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So it's just
Yeah.
like, dang, I really liked him. I did these things. So then you have that going on where a lot of women are becoming bitter. Now you have the city girl type of thing where it's like, okay, if he want to smash anyway, I'm gonna make sure he pay. So now you got the 90-day rule where not even a rule. I'm gonna make sure he spend most of his money since he asking for P. I'm gonna be asking for money. So by the time I sleep with him, I didn't got my money's worth out of it, and he can go on about his day. That's pretty much what's going on now.
Y'all both pushing P, huh?
I do want to make one point though. I think a lot of times, a
Hilarious.
lot of the BS that we get comes from a lot of the men who are the 6 foot and up, the playboy kind of men that didn't play the game right, who broke these women's hearts and played the game and did all the lies. So you have that plethora of men, and then you have the men that are leading with their wallets, who are just tricking and simping and simping. And then there's the average man, which I would say about at least 40 to 50% of the rest of the men. And we're caught in that struggle because we have these men that have done all these toxic things to women, and this other group of men that have been overpaying and being like the dirty Max or whatever. And then we get labeled in with them. And I think, unfortunately, it's about the women not choosing correctly in the first place. They think that all men are cheating and all men are these bad things. And it's like, no, you're picking the men that have all these available options and they don't settle. But most men will settle, and most men will be completely content and happy with one great woman. But I think, unfortunately, those men aren't getting those opportunities. And all men are being lumped up as all black men cheat, all black men are this, because we have this huge number of people that are playing the game dirty.
Or
Well,
because I'm sorry. Well, I was just gonna say it's because we want a certain type. Nobody wants somebody that don't nobody else want. Can we just keep it real? Like,
but
nobody
that's not
wants
our
to be with
fault.
a loser
Lucky,
looking
they
nerd.
don't believe me when I say that, Lucky.
I
I mean, 'cause it's
understand that
life.
complete. I know Tommy and Lucky are saying something correct, but unfortunately, when a man has too many options, most of those men, if they have those options, 6 feet above, more than 6 or 7 inches, does all these things, like, he's not going to really commit, and he's going to lie, and he's going to do all these things because he has multiple options. But that's not the average man.
Just
But
like women, I just
that's
want
the
to add,
part we're
women
not
be
told,
having
because I'm gonna tell you
options.
something. I
Hold on, I
remember
committed.
that's the part that many women are not told. And I'll use myself as an example. I remember my mother telling me when I was in high school that because I was dating a guy that was very popular, and I was, trying to fight off the women because they, all wanted me. He was a musician, and my mom would told me that, don't be um, don't be mad. You shouldn't be mad that other women want your man. What you should be concerned with is if no one wants him except you. And so I
Yeah.
went by that.
Your mom said that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went by that. She said, no, you shouldn't be concerned that others, or something to the fact, you shouldn't be concerned that other women find your man attractive or want your man. The problem becomes if nobody wants him with you but you need to ask yourself why.
That's
So
a fact.
That's
It's the
That's
fact.
same
not a
thing
fact,
for
though.
women. If a
That's
woman
that's
has
that's a
different
vanity. That's not a
options,
fact.
well, but what I'm saying, but I understood it differently than I understand it now. I understand because I'm sure that there are women that would want my husband.
Hmm.
He's not, he may not be the finest to anybody, but he's fine to me. But if nobody wanted him ever, I'd have to question that. Why?
not to mention you made more women want him when you married
Yeah,
him. That happens a lot of the times where
Yeah.
you can get with a man who didn't have much options, but if you look good because you have options and you get with a man who may not have options, you can literally make him look good to where now he has options. It's the same thing with women. Like in this modern day dating, a lot of women have options. So when they're going on these dates, we understand men propose, but she also has to accept. So yeah, now we have a game where you don't even want to compete with her options. We say women don't want to compete. Men really don't want to compete. So if she has other options, she's also going to these dates. Okay, you may be complaining about this date or how much it costs or whatever, but I just went on a date last week and I kind of like him a little bit more than you anyway. So it that's really what's going on now, where when women hear like, oh, you know, men are the prize and this and that and the other, it's being rejected because you're looking at women who have options. They're not looking at girls that look like, what do incel women, what are they called? I don't know. But they're not looking
Librarians.
at,
Socially awkward.
They
Socially
don't
awkward.
exist.
oh, I'm sure there's some incel type women, but you don't see the incel type of men talking about they're going after incel women. They're bashing the women that they never could get because that woman has options that he never could look like the options that he had, that she has. So he has to get money to even be in her face. They're not going after
Mm,
potential type women. Y'all can fight me. It's cool.
No, you 100% right.
nah,
And I'm gonna
no,
say this.
no, no, no.
No,
I'm gonna say
I'm gonna say this.
she's
These,
50% wrong.
no,
50% wrong on
hold
that.
on.
And I
And the problem with that is, no matter how much money you get, deep down in your soul, you know why she there. And I'm gonna tell you why she 100% right. It's the reason why you keep on hearing these niggas talk about Pookies and Ray Rays all day long. They don't talk about them though. I can promise you, Pookies and Ray Rays, they live a real life doing them. They ain't talking about these cats on YouTube. But the cats on YouTube show talk about them every other show.
That's facts. And Kevin Samuels did a show with a Pookie and Ray Ray that they talking about Future, and I don't think he worried about the incels.
Speak on it. I'm sorry.
I'm not
So
speaking for the incels. I'm speaking for the regular day Joe. I'm tired of seeing, or used to get tired of seeing, girls complain about not finding the good guy, but then you want to date the guy that has multiple options. So a lot of it ain't about them not being able not to get with you. It's stop quitting and bitching and complaining on social media that there ain't no good guys out here when there are good guys. You just overlook them because they ain't got the Jaguar, they ain't got the big icy chain in the club. That's where I see a
Let's
lot
be real.
happening.
How
They
many
don't have
people
the
drive a
swag.
Jag or IC chain? Most of the time,
And
the
and,
Pookie got an
Ooh,
Altima or a Dodge
and that's
Charger.
what I was about to say,
okay,
Lucky. And the
let me
problem
read this
is,
comment from Freedman's Journal because he makes a very
well,
good
I'm in
point.
Dallas. I'm in Dallas. I see a lot of it. Go
Well,
ahead.
Yeah.
let me, and I'm speaking from
you
Generation
know
X
most of that shit fake, right?
because
I don't
Freedman's
care if it's
Journal
fake or not.
writes,
They got the section.
hello, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Free-
Go ahead.
Freedman's Journal wrote Black women, when surveyed, weighed physical attractiveness in a mate higher than all other groups. That's the part
Exactly.
right there. That's the part.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Because
saying.
that's the part right there. Because again, I really wasn't caring about how much money he had back in my day, even in, after I had my daughter. But if you was fine, or I thought you was fine, oh yeah, I was going for you. But
And
was
I
that the
don't think
best thing
women
for
ever
you?
focus
And
on the
he was
trajectory of a
fine, and
man.
he had multiple options and wanted to exercise all of them. And what the problem is, many women, myself included, thought that I was the best option, so I'm going to do what I needed to do to compete because I was the best option. But every woman thought the same thing, as opposed to getting with a nicer guy who was handsome but maybe not as fine as him, who wanted to be about me. So Phil
But
was absolutely right on that.
TJ, it ain't nothing changed. Like when guys say this, they want a guy that got this, that, and that. It's bullshit. That's Instagram. And if you're going after chicks like that, that's on you, player. Because there's plenty of females out there. I have never, not one day in my life, had a chick ask me how much money I make, hopped in my car and say, "Oh, you drive this type of car? Oh, what kind of jeans you wear?" None of that stuff. And I stay in California. It's pretty vain out here. And I ain't never had a chick ask me
Facts.
that. That's
Yes, but
They
Instagram shit.
Tommy,
you're
you
making
ran
it
in
and
a
look,
different circle. Tommy, you were running in the
yeah.
streets and being thuggish a bit. So you were in a completely
you
different stratosphere than most average men.
But
Correct?
what I'm telling you, what the funk is, most of these chicks that these cats talk about, you don't want anyway. So what are you worried about them for?
Wait.
Well, now we're going on the circle jerk now. Yeah, now we're going on the whole circle jerk. We're talking about.
I get where he's talking about, because again, if we're talking about the ratchet females that's not the kind of woman that you would want or you should want.
Please show me the decent woman that's going, I need a man with a chain and a grill and a car and da-da-da. Please show me her. I'll wait.
Well, then I'll let you know. One, that's the sexual desire of a lot of our sisters. So just because they might have
I said a decent woman.
A decent woman is
what? Hold on. Is Lucky a decent woman?
And Lucky requires you to have a Mercedes and a chain and a this and a that.
No, I'm not. I'm asking, is Lucky a decent woman?
She seems to be.
As far as I know, I don't know Lucky like that. What are you talking about?
Lucky, you can answer this. Are you a decent woman?
Absolutely.
So, is it hard for you to find a good man, or is it easy for you to find a good man?
I'm not even looking, but I'm gonna say it's not hard. I'm gonna say it's not hard.
It will be easy. Yeah, exactly.
No,
It will
it's
be
not
easy
hard.
for you to find a good man.
The hard part
if you wanted one.
The hard part that I agree with women on, the effort, because you can have a good man or whatever idea you think is a good man, but then you have to get to know them, and it has to continue the effort. So when I hear women say there are no good men out here, I agree with y'all how they want a certain lifestyle after they've been ran through or disrespected or made bad decisions. I totally get that. But overall, I think we're not being fair in the conversation, where a lot of women get with average men, quote unquote, potential, who then they try to build with the man. They try to do all these things to not seem stuck up, to not seem a lot of those ways, like I've done a lot of times in my life, and it never worked out. So what am I going to do going forward? I'm not going to date the potential guy, because most of the time that does not work out. The effort doesn't follow through. You don't really see a lot of men putting in effort. It's kind of like, I don't even think they know how. So it's more so in this dating world, when women typically say that, is usually there's no follow-up effort from what the man is saying, or to them a good man would be a man who actually, the effort to them, should I say, would be a man who is not shy to show himself. Maybe it's take her out. Now we have men who are saying, we just gonna sit in the house. Most women don't want to have a relationship where they just sit in the house with you, because they have to understand certain things, or while she's trying and she has a different effort. So I think that's when it comes.
Yeah, somebody fall asleep.
I got a phone call.
somebody low key snoring.
I personally don't think they know how to ask. I personally think they don't know how to ask the right questions to do. They don't know how to vet who's a good guy, who's not a good guy. Ask him what's his 3-year plan or his 5-year plan. You know what I mean? Ask him what his 2-month plan. If a nigga buying Jordans every month and he ain't getting money from it as a business, fucking with him. He's selfish. He wants to just buy Jordans, and he ain't trying to progress. He ain't trying to go hiking. He ain't trying to worry about his health. I've said this before on TJ's show. A lot of women and a lot of men don't know how to choose good candidates. Point blank simple. I don't care what kind of chain, car you got. All that's easy, and you can look through that within a 10-minute conversation.
I agree.
But what Lucky said is absolutely right.
TJ, you muted.
Okay, hold up. Before I get Genesis in here, let me read Friedman's Journal's comments. It says, women don't ask because they don't have to. A woman can size up a man economically at a glance. To a certain degree, I will agree with that. To a certain degree. Because sometimes a man just needs a woman to, polish, smooth out the rough ends. They may be holding it down, but they just, need a woman to smooth out the rough ends.
Huh? Yeah.
So
I think a lot of men know how to finesse at a glance. I think a lot of men know how to dress the part and look like they have money, but they really don't. And that's part of our whole swag culture. What he just said, we know that women can look at us quickly and try to ascertain how much money we have. And that's why so many men will put so much of a front on their facade, which is not really about who they are. They'll spend a lot of money on the fancy shoes and fancy clothes because they want the woman to think that they actually have a trajectory that they actually don't have. And that's part of our issue.
Well, let me get to Silver's point before I get Genesis in here. And you're right. But I think that's one of the reasons I try to talk about the things that I did wrong, because I did not know how to vet. I did, I was choosing the wrong men for the wrong reasons, looking at very surface level things. How you looked. I did want you to have a work ethic, but I was concerned with superficial things. I did not look as hard into character as I should have. And I can be as honest with that, even with my ex-husband, my daughter's father. What attracted me, and it wasn't because he was that great looking, because he wasn't, but this bravado, this thing that this confidence that he exuded, was the same thing I came to not stand about him. So again, I did not know how to do it. Men and women don't know how to do it, particularly because, again, we're not, unless we have these examples in our lives daily to teach us that, so we can follow a pattern, we're not going to know. So that's one of the reasons I don't like to keep talking in circles. That's one thing I don't want to do. I share my experiences so that people, men and women, can say, okay, let me refocus, because I was a bad, I'm a bad B, but I was fine as hell. I'm just gonna keep it 1,000 wow. And I thought that I said, I want you, and I want you. But what I was picking wasn't for the right reasons. And I ended up wasting a hell of a lot of time, a hell of a lot of emotional energy, a hell of a lot of stuff. So because of that, I picked wrong. But fortunately, through my mistakes, my daughter learned to pick right. Because why? She wanted a guy that was attractive to her. And Kevon was attracted to her. Other women did want him, but all the women didn't want him. You understand me? He came from a good family. He had a good character, a good work ethic, all those things that I turned a blind eye to, as long as you looked good. So that's what we're talking about here. Who did I lose?
Lucky said she had to leave,
Oh,
but I was
okay.
gonna say
Okay.
back on her point, and I was gonna tell with the phone, bro. That street shit went. You know what made it easy for me to deal with females, bro? The
The
amount
fact
of
that you spent
30-year-old women.
the fact that you spent time with them.
No, listen to me. The amount of 30-year-old women that I know to this day that have never had flowers, bro. That's the easiest game in the world. I was doing that shit in high school, bro, on some player shit. And you got grown men out here thinking giving flowers is simping.
I mean, they're not thinking
Flowers?
that
Tom,
giving flowers is simping.
That's the
Look,
bare minimum. Bro, I had somebody tell me I was simping on my daughter, bro. This community is nuts.
Tommy,
They can pick rocks.
Tommy, you got.
Let's get Genesis in here. Let's get Genesis in here.
Y'all have been so spot on. Everybody was saying something, but what the Funk said about the guys leading with the money, basically, and telling, giving the impression that they are on a trajectory that they're not. And that is so spot on, because guys will do that. They put their money out front. And then when a woman comes to expect them to have those finances once they start dating, then they call her a gold digger. And to
no, he hopes
piggyback
he's
on what
already had sex with her and made a bond with her that she'll now accept the fact that he's not on that trajectory.
sometimes
Most
nowadays,
times.
these younger ladies seem to be about the money, or at least the appearance of it. And I think I'm a Gen Xer. TJ, I think, is also. But when we were younger, I did exactly what you did, TJ. If he fine, then I'm with it. And I think when we're younger, our standards are much lower than they are once we get older. When we get older, what we find attractive in a man changes.
It absolutely does.
I think that goes both ways. I think and to that point, like I remember watching a panel and they was talking, and so one of the guys was, complaining yada yada yada. So one of the women asked him, well, how about you deal with a chick that basically like described him? And he was like, well, why do I have to go down to that? And I'm sitting there looking like, wait. So it's cool for you to have your expectation and want your chick here, but then if they got expectation, they want you to be here. That's a problem.
Tommy, I think you're missing the point, Tommy. You're from LA. I'm from Seattle.
I'm from
Us
Oakland.
people on the west, Oakland. Okay, you're from Oakland. So people on the West Coast, our game and ism is very different than everybody else. You know what I mean? So you're taking your anecdotal experience and your ism and trying to see if
Well, I
everybody
was in the
else got it.
military. I
Everybody
was
else don't.
living, bro. I was living with people from everywhere in the military.
Okay, but
Living.
I can still sense some ism in you, bro. I can still sense some ism
No,
from
no,
Oakland.
no. I'm not discounting that. But what I'm saying is because that's there, I can point out the faults of these guys that are out here complaining. Number one thing that we
Exactly.
don't do is fucking complain. Get over
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
That's the number one thing
I'm the
we
same
don't
way.
do. We don't, bro. I've had conversations with some of the OG cats in my motorcycle club about some of these discussions. They literally die laughing, bro. They die. Nobody sitting. Cats from where I'm from do not sit around in panel circles or wherever you want to make this up to be and complain about women not wanting him. That's just that's why I said when I got in this community, it just blew my brain. Like, wait, this what we doing?
Right.
Now I understand giving dudes a voice, 100%, absolutely. So I'm not gonna condemn the whole thing because some of it I think is good. But when we get to a point to where I was on watching the show one time, it was like 2:00 in the morning, and they were literally passing around stories about getting turned down by chicks. I'm like, this is nuts. One cat actually counting the number of chicks that rejected him, bro. And I'm just like, wait. And this is who females are supposed to be attracted to because they're successful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, no woman wants a lame. I'm sorry whether you like it or not, whether da-da-da. Dog, like, you're sitting around complaining about being rejected, bro. That ain't what winners do, period.
You're speaking facts because when I'm home, I'm barely on YouTube. I may turn on TJ stuff, but when I'm home in Dallas, I'm barely on YouTube. So I understand what you're saying. A lot of people to me seem kind of lame, but I understand people want to get a dollar and have a business. I'm not talking about TJ. I'm not talking about the content creators. I'm talking about some of these dudes on panels. I'm like, bro, just go out to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, go talk to it. It's easy to start a conversation up in a grocery store. You know what I mean? Hey, what you cooking tonight? You know
Don't
what I
be
mean?
nice. You can throw
You know,
some of the content
Okay.
creators in there too.
It's not easy. And Genesis, Eugene, and I will attest. Why is it not easy? Because folks don't know how to talk to each other.
Yes.
They know how to send a text. They know how to slide in the DM. They
Yeah.
don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to have a conversation. That's the real facts here. That's the
And
real
TJ,
facts. Yeah.
that was what I was going to tell with the phone too. That's the number one reason why I've always had successful women because I know how to speak and I know how to listen. I don't speak to respond. I speak to almost every female that I've messed with. I can come a year or two later and tell them something that they told me way back then, and they be looking at me like I'm crazy because I listen.
Because you've had practice with this at an early age, being around women. But the same thing that you say about the lanes. What would happen in our community if for some reason women stop having babies with the cool guys, the ones who are the entertainers, and for some reason started focusing on the lanes? Those lanes would then, one, be so happy to even get noticed by one woman, and then two, they would pour into a real nest egg with that woman because they would actually want to build a family and stay put. But unfortunately, all the cool ones, because we're the lanes on this side, they're getting the cool ones are the ones that are making the community what it is and being the Rolling Stones that have been happening since the 60s and 70s. What would happen if we just took away the whole cool aspect, the whole game aspect, and just completely procreated on the men and with the women that are the right ones?
Well, that's not going to happen. And the reason why I say that because
we're focused on the cool so much, and the problem is that when women have a child.
Hold on. Her profile, her talking first. Her talking.
That's not new. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If my mom was, that's not new. My
and
dad,
it ain't just black.
It is new. That came with the pimp culture and the idea of the pimp culture in the 60s and 70s.
The cool. There's always been the cool guys. There's
TJ,
always been
why
the
was
football
Fonzie
player.
cool? Why did
Oh,
Fonzie have all the chicks? Because he was the bad guy. He was cool. What are you
yes,
talking about? This ain't
But
you.
the bad guy shouldn't be the one that gets the girl in the first place.
It
yes,
is what
Logically,
it
but
is,
it
bro.
always is. So
bro.
the point is you
okay.
what okay, look, I will
I'm
contend
listening.
that. But even the lames, if you will,
Mhm.
knew how to have conversations with girls.
Yes.
Now you
No.
have lames who don't know how to converse because they're behind a freaking computer all day playing games on the
Mm-hmm.
internet, not out in the real world, don't know how
Mhm.
to have a conversation. That's the difference. That's the
What about
difference.
the lame that make money?
But hold on, wait a minute. I can go through my yearbook,
Just
bro. Because
wait a minute. Focusing on the lames, you're saying these lames are making money. But you actually get that lame person who is actually having the great job would get a woman who knows how to do all that, and she brings that out of him, and he just focused on his craft and on his not just his passion, but the things that actually make a providing nest egg. Instead of we have women that want to get with the cool guy who's also making the money and also being entertaining and also doing all these other things. And unfortunately, that's not a reality. Most women want to do some Dragon Ball Z fusion shit and combine 5 or 6 attributes of a different man and put it into one man. You can't be
okay,
all
so
those
TJ,
things.
let me ask this question, TJ.
Yeah.
Then why they get to reject fat chicks? Because they could be a great wife, they could be a this, they could be a that, but y'all have no problem with to reject the fat chicks.
Okay, say
What
that
does that?
again now.
Why does a guy who is a so-called lame have to get a fat chick? That's not even on the same stratosphere.
It's not, but it's the lame guy. He wants the fly girl, the model chick, and it just doesn't match up. He doesn't have
Lame
the
guys aren't asking for that.
conversation
Lame
of what
guys are
TJ
asking for a
said.
woman that. Okay, you
He
think
Let her
doesn't
lame
have
guys?
finish.
the
Let her finish.
conversation to
Let her
even
finish.
relate to her, to be able to relate to her.
Turn
So
down your
because he
mic.
doesn't have the conversation, she's not even entertaining. Because truly, if the lame guy had conversation, he could probably pull one of the fly chicks just by his conversation. But because they
You
don't have
honestly
that,
believe that?
Yeah.
Bro,
Okay, hold on. Let me
hold on.
hold on. What the fuck?
absolutely.
I can go through my yearbook, swear to God, and show you straight A guys who had game. So let's not get it mixed up that lame equals
Okay,
like
okay.
this smart guy,
What is
something like that.
game? What is this game that you keep saying that is so important that every man needs to somehow have instead of maybe not having?
it's called charisma. It's called charisma, bro. Gameism is called charisma.
Your microphone. What's up with your microphone?
Somebody's microphone
Okay, it's
is
called
too loud.
charisma.
I don't like it.
No, it's called my
Please.
phone being way too loud. What's up?
Okay. One at a
All right.
time.
Game,
One at a time.
charisma, swag, whatever you want to call it. Those are 3 things that are absolutely not necessary for the betterment of a man. It's just something that men do to end up getting women. You don't need to have
Okay.
it.
Women
Pause.
like it,
You don't
though.
have. Hold on.
Women-
You don't have
women-
charisma because you. Hold on. You don't have charisma because you can't even let Genesis finish talking, bro.
Okay,
You gotta
you're
let a
right.
woman
I
speak.
have
And
zero charisma as a 20-year
Women like
You're right.
charisma.
I have zero charisma.
No personal attacks up in here.
Shame, guilt.
no, it's not personal. It's just
consent,
learning how to
envy.
have conversation.
Sir, I can conversate on so many different levels that I have in the past. Okay, so what is your issue with what I have said?
It's not what you said, bro. It's you keep cutting people off, which shows me in reality when you may not like something somebody says, you're so quick to jump down their throat, bro. Just let them finish talking what they got to say. Take 3 seconds and be like, okay, I see where you're coming from, but this is my opinion. That's simple. I've turned a girl that was mad or upset at me over a conversation to smiling and happy and wanting to go have drinks with me because I just understood her point, bro.
Sir,
It's called
you
charisma,
can't
ism.
tell me and talk so much, and I've sat here and be quiet. When I say my one point, all of a sudden I'm cutting people off. He says one thing, and I've spoken. So
Okay.
what's,
You got it, bro. You got it.
Let me say this.
I gotta do what?
No, he said you. Okay, I need y'all to stop. That's what I need. Okay, that's what I need. That's what I need. I was going to say I know that there's a delay also, Silver, because What the Funk is in Germany, so there is a delay. We want to keep that in mind. Okay. So, Genesis, what you got?
Women like charisma. Women like charisma. We like a man that can have a conversation with us. And many times, we don't want to hear about IT all day or tech all day. Have a regular old conversation. And like TJ said, some of these men, they don't unplug from the computers long enough. So they're talking tech talk. They're speaking on these talking points that they see on YouTube. It's like, what is happening in your real life? And many of them don't have one. So they can't even relate to anything.
Are we talking charisma? Or are we talking game? Because those are two completely different things. If a man can game a woman, that means he can give her lies and feed her bullshit and seduce her with words.
That is not what game.
That is game.
Game is not necessarily slick talking.
Okay,
that's not
exactly.
what game is.
Okay,
It
what is
be.
game to most people? If you say that dude's got game, that means he can talk to multiple women and seduce them. Correct?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
He has game, that means he can talk to multiple women.
Yes, it can be, but that is not. It can be, but it's not the only thing. If I say game as it relates to my dad, yeah, he had game because he would talk up the females. It can be that, but it also can be just the ability, like this, it's charisma. I don't think it's all or nothing. I don't think.
I think it's knowing how to converse, knowing how to listen, knowing how to find what she's feeding you to basically get a build off of and to create that conversation. I can go meet a stranger, a woman, and you should know this as a bartender, know nothing about her, and just by having a conversation with her, start digging out some of the stuff about her, whatever, to create a long conversation. And like I said earlier, that's usually with the females that I've ended up in longer term relationships with, those are the ones I usually end up on the phone with for all kind of crazy, because I hate the phone. I absolutely hate the phone. So if I end up on the phone with a female for hours, that means we rocking. But if I don't know you from Adam, for me to even have that conversation with you and I think another big thing is to keep you entrenched in the conversation, keep you entertained in the conversation. That's where the knowing how to joke and stuff. That's why that's what's funny is we talk about the lames that can't get chicks, but somehow ugly ass dudes could get chicks. We see it all the time. I wonder why. Because they not on YouTube crying about, oh, I got turned down or whatever. The reason why I got to where I was at, because I got turned down and I kept going. But I also grew up in a different era where when we walked out the door, we had a piece of paper and a pencil with us. And we was going out to go talk to human beings. In this generation, they got Instagram. Hey, what's your Instagram? That's game nowadays. And then I'll hit your inbox.
Real quick, and then I'm gonna get Eugene. To that point, Tommy, you're absolutely right. Before I met my husband, gosh, it had to be maybe around the time 2013. There's a guy I met, and we're still friends today. Of course, we don't talk as often because I'm married. But when I met him, he was not somebody I would have dated. He was not one of the more attractive guys that I've dated. But check this out. He could talk. We conversed. He made me laugh. He had a personality, and that made me like him more, other than just his physical looks. So again, communication is key. But some of these, lame or whatever you call them, or those that may not, if you add that and then something not be as attractive, and you add socially awkward, that's a problem. Let me read Freeman's journey here. Freeman's journal. He says, at Mosaic with TJ, at a graduation party, the strong Black women can't find a man on their level trope were abundant. You were right. You were right. But here's the thing. We didn't know what our level was. I'm just keeping one thou wow. Because if I knew then what I know now, my level is, will you treat me like a lady? Will you bring me flowers? Will you say nice things to me? Will you send me love songs? Do you have a work ethic? I don't give a damn what your educational background is. Can you hold a conversation? That's my level. But back in the day, we associated level with education. No. So you hear it from me, ladies. Quit playing yourself. I played myself. You understand me? I played myself. So when we talk about our level, what the hell are you talking about? Genesis, what you got? Eugene, and then I got Genesis because I see you nodding your head, Genesis.
Yeah.
Eugene, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I can remember. I mean, I've always told you, high school and college, yeah, I always had trouble because, I hear these guys dropping these lines, and I was not good at lines at all. So, I tried to come in more friend-like, basically. Um, and I did not really know how to start. I guess it takes nerves to start a conversation with somebody who are attractive with. So high school and college, it was no luck. But it's when I started growing up, when I'm starting to have a little bit of luck. I mean, of course, come with her friend, like tell her my feelings. I told you that story already,
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting to the point where I'm starting to attract people, but I try not to come at them, hard. Just be normal and everything like that. But lately I've been attracting the wrong people. So what I try to do is try to find the right people and apply uh the friend approach to her, and not coming on strong like that. Uh,
Before I get Genesis in there, I need, without giving too much, whatever you're comfortable with. What do you mean you're attracting the wrong people? Inquiring minds want to know.
well, it's like I'm a I'm attracting. Well, basically, there are things that I do not want in a woman, and lately I've been attracting those type of women who have what I do not want,
Like,
basically. So I mean, it's been frustrating at times, but
like
you know,
what? Like, what are you attracting? Like what that you don't want? Just give me an
well,
example.
for one thing, I'm not really into big women,
Okay.
but it happened anyway. Uh, I do not like, you know, women with strong attitudes. I keep
Okay.
attracting them. Uh, I keep attracting women um, who basically do not look good, but I keep attracting them anyway. It's like, you know, other than the women who I want, I know it's not realistic. Okay, to it's not realistic to get the perfect woman or anything like that, and I'm not really looking for it. But it's but what I've been getting is just not what I wanted. You know.
What do
Well,
you
here's the thing.
want?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. What the funk? That's a good question.
Well, all I know really is what I don't want. I don't know what I really want, but
Bruh.
what I know is what I don't want.
You know what?
What?
Okay, listen. What the funk? I'm gonna get with Eugene on that. You know why? What the funk? Because check this out. On my profile, when I met Mr. Randolph, I said I don't. I said I don't know what I'm looking for, but I know what I'm not looking for. And that's exactly what I wrote on my profile. What I was not looking for was the same type of personality, that I had before. So, so I kind of get where Eugene is coming from because I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew what I didn't want any. I knew what I did not want. So I could kind of get that. Genesis, what you got?
I was just shaking my head in agreement with what you were saying because you were spot on.
And I think to that point, Eugene, I understand what you're saying because again, I didn't know what I was looking for. I knew what I wasn't looking for. I did not want a man to try to control me. And what I mean by that, not necessarily to lead me, because I definitely want a man to lead me. I didn't want a man to control me to the point of being condescending and berating me. And I didn't want a man who was not as committed to his work ethic as I was to mine. Now you didn't have to go want to go up to a higher level, but I wanted you to work and
Right.
be especially at my age, at our age, that should be expected. So there were certain things, and I did not want to deal with. I was not going to deal with men who had any type of substance abuses. I mean, and I didn't want to deal with men that had small children. Now, I didn't say that wouldn't date a man that had children, but because of where I was in my life, I did not want small children. So I understood. I get that concept. Um, and
But
here's the
isn't that
thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but isn't that thinking the glass half empty?
It is. And I accepted that. And the reason why I accepted that, because again, at that point in my life, I was an empty nester. My daughter had gone off to college. So I was in a different stage in my life. So yeah, and in so doing, I might have been, excluding some prospects. But in any situation, there's some give and take, and it's what you are willing to accept. And at that point in my life, because my daughter had just left to go to college, I was not prepared to start over in that way.
Right. So
Thank you for
to Eugene's example, it brings it back to my point of men having to choose the right type of woman. Eugene should write 5 things of what he would like in a woman. And I bet you if he wrote that down and he lived by it, read it every day, whatever, learn those type of women, he would probably find a good woman if he was in the right areas and was in good faith.
And you know what? Check this out, Eugene. He put 5 things, and I go to 5 things because even Danielle said when she knew that she wanted to be married, she had a list that had 5 things on it.
Yeah.
And women, sometimes we get stupid with the list. I know I did in my younger years. I'm like, damn. But she had 5 things, and check it out. None of them had to do with looks or money. In a sense of, she said that she wanted a man who could provide, willing to provide, meaning he may not have already been established to what the funk's point, but he had already established that he had a goal, he had a work ethic, he had a vision, and he was moving in that direction. When it came to physical attraction, she said he didn't have to be fine, but she said, but I knew God wasn't going to play me like that and give me somebody I wasn't attracted to. So that's 2 of the 5. So absolutely, Eugene. And here's the thing. When it comes to bigger women, I'm just, I have to go ahead and keep it 1,000. Well, I remember when early on, when Kevin was talking about, fit, feminine, blah, all that kind of stuff. I had some righteous indignation about how dare you tell a woman that she don't need to be a certain size. But I had to go back to my own self, like, well, okay, well, TJ, you wanted a man that had all his teeth. So since you wanted a man that had all of his teeth, whether they veneers, implants, or whatever, a man has a right to want a woman that is not looking like a zero, round. So you have a right, Eugene, not to want that. And in that point, and so with that, I had to learn that I had to compete for Mr. Randolph, even though I wasn't competing like these younger women were. But I knew that if I was looking like a zero, he probably would have been a nice friend, but chances are he probably wouldn't have been so inclined, because I had to go ahead and accept the fact that yes, women are visual to a point, but men are more visual.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real. That's real right there. Let me look at Kombucha's comment. She talks about, I'll be curious to hear what people talk about in their initial conversations and dates when getting to know someone. Well, I will talk about mine. Well, me and Mr. Like I said, like Tommy said, we had a couple of conversations where we talked for hours before we had our first date. But here's the thing: when our first couple of conversations, it was just, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do? Where are you from? And I was, I asked a lot about, what, you're a truck driver. Tell me what it's like to be a truck driver. Because I knew nothing about it, but it wasn't interview type questions. And I said, well, I'm from here, and you like these kind of movies, and just really surface level conversations, and it wasn't like an interview. And I think maybe it's Tommy. I think either you or Silver said that in a few couple of conversations, you're gonna be able to get an idea of the kind of person they are, even if they're interesting.
Yeah, well, one thing my dad always told me is if you meet somebody new, the conversation is endless. You literally know nothing about that person. So you can go anywhere with the conversation. And I guess for me, that's why it comes off as weird when guys have trouble with having conversation with women. But then I think that's where the courage factor comes in at, because I'm 39, I'll be 40 this year. Still get the little butterflies. Nobody like to get rejected. It is what it is. But the cream of the crop is going to push that aside and going to go, go speak.
Go ahead, Tommy. I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, but the cream of the crop is going to push those butterflies to the side and they going to go speak. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I remember growing up, we damn near had competitions. Oh, you want to go talk to her? Oh, you want to go talk to her? Like, this is stuff that we had. And mind you, in doing that, we didn't even realize that it's actually making you more comfortable with speaking to women. And it's making you more comfortable with being rejected by women. So you don't even take it personal. And then for me, and I'll put myself out there with this situation because people say, because I'm over 6 feet, yada, 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 I'm different. But because I reject women, I can't hold it against the women that reject me. Because if I could reject somebody, why can't nobody reject me? I agree with you too about the father thing, because that's one thing that I sat on is not only did I have a father, I had a father that
poured into you these conversations.
I think the problem is they preach about the father thing, which is right, but hell, you can have a father that had the same issues as you and passed it down to you, so you didn't have nobody to learn it from.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of young men, when they're raised with single mothers, like they get this whole weird Prince Charming complex without actually having to deal with women. Meaning that you're an amazing person, and they never poured in or even had the conversations and become comfortable. This is why I think it's important that a lot of men spend time either in sales or bartending in restaurants, so you can simply be around the opposite sex and be comfortable on a base-to-base level conversating with them. But a lot of men don't ever do this. So they kind of get and then put these women on a pedestal. And then when they get finessed, they get heartbroken. When in reality, I think we all need to just be comfortable speaking to women and having women friends where it's not a sexual thing at all. Having women friends where it's like, yo, like that's my ace. That's the person I pour into. That's the person that I can speak to on different shit because we connect on that level. And I think a lot of men, especially in this YouTube space, don't value spending money on female friends, on good things for female friends. It's only like, oh, if I'm not fucking her, then exactly. I'm not going to spend money on. Like, yo, take your homegirl on a date. If she's a homegirl and she has kids and she ain't going out, yo, you my ace. I'm gonna go take you out and let's go kick it, because one, that's gonna make me seem better to other women where we're kicking it at anyway. But I don't think that we value women's friendships as a culture anyway.
We're told in this society that men and women can't be friends without having intimacy, which I think is bullshit, because one of my best friends, who's my daughter's godfather, we've known each other over 30 years and never dated. Never.
And I was gonna say, what the fuck?
Sit in the friend zone, though. They'll sit in the friend zone. So it's rare to find those situations where one or the other of the parties aren't interested in something more than a platonic friendship.
And what the fuck?
Like, friend zone is shady a bit, but actual friendships is what I think is something that we need to be focusing on. But a lot of men will they won't really have those friendships. They'll have friends where it's like, oh, well, I if she does offer me some, I'll take it. And that's not right.
And I think, and with the phone,
wait a minute, Tommy. Eugene want to get in for a minute.
Yeah, I was about to say that, my ex from the very first serious relationship I've been in, she's now my best friend now. She is. We hang out with each other as we get. We live in 2 different cities, but we would meet somewhere and just hang out, and that was it.
I was gonna say with the phone, like that is what I say, like that qualifies as lame. Because I think when people hear lame, they just think like you're doing everything right, you're the square. No, I think if you can't just be platonic friends with a female, that's lame to me. If everything with a female gotta be sexual, that's lame. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like I've gotten some of my best game from a female, and I've also, even though they don't listen much, but I've given them, some of the best games. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's where it, where all of this culminates from. It's not just you look a certain way. It's not you talk a certain way. It's all of this stuff. It's listening to the opposite sex, kind of understanding where their point of view is coming from, not just, hammering your points in it. Because like a lot of times when I see these cats on panels and they screaming at females, I'm looking at them like, bro, that's not player. Why are you on screen screaming at them? That's craziness to me.
Real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and Lucky Marie, I'm about to hurt you. You see this comment? She said, it's a lot of good fat women. More men should stop being so picky with, I'm gonna hurt you.
They can be with each other. Fuck that. No, tell them to love on each other. No.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Genesis said it, and it's funny because my mom said something very similar a couple of days ago. She said that we women, women have, unrealistic expectation. We want a man to have a 6-pack and this, that, and the other, but we walking around looking like a round person. And then she said, or a man wants a supermodel and he got a gut and no money.
You got to get what you are. Did you just put a sound effect in the background? I liked it. Did you just hit a little shot?
That was actually.
I thought you got a soundboard. I was like, all right, go ahead, TJ.
I do.
I don't think as far as physical goes, we all need to give a little bit of grace. I mean, the guy, he doesn't have to have, a 6-pack, and the guy doesn't have to go after the model chick. Have some kind of wiggle room because she's a few pounds overweight. I mean, I think even TJ said when she started dating Mr. Randolph that she was heavier, and then she did the work to lose the weight, because some of these skinny people, when they have a couple kids, they're not going to be skinny anymore, or once age hits them, they're not going to have that same figure, or once they get in a relationship and get complacent. So the same people that they laugh at is the woman that they could become. And the other way around,
Okay,
even
look.
What?
Genesis. Okay, I got to stop you right there, because you absolutely listen. When I was in college, me and my girls would look at women that were bigger, and we said, "Oh, she got FS, filthy shape." Woke up after 40 and I had FS. It's real. It's real.
I'm saying, to keep your body in order once you get older, it takes work. And these ones who are feeling themselves because they got that cute little figure now, baby, let's see you in 10 years.
Look, ladies, be at the wait. If there's a fire in your house and you live on a different floor, if a fireman can't rescue you out, you need to work on something.
Okay, I'm trying to, I'm honestly trying to figure out this way of thinking. So let me ask you this. I think most of us in high school, there was the ugly chick that you saw 10 years later and she was fine as hell. I know exactly who the one mine is. I go to her Facebook right now and I look at that picture and say, damn, every day. How is that different than you know you giving a fat, like fat can come off? You know what I'm saying? So it's just weird to me that these cats can have these
That don't go off easy as you think, man. It's an addiction. And you can't just get with a woman who's fat and be like, okay, well, we'll work out, and then she gets that.
You on mute, TJ?
Oh, I said, go ahead, Tommy, because I couldn't hear. Because Tommy, and then you, what the funk? Go ahead.
No, I understand that it's hard to get off. I understand that, but what I'm saying is because what these cats are saying is, well, I have everything else, I'm just not cool. Okay, well, this chick can have everything else, she's just a little heavier. But for some reason, in a lot of these cats' heads, that's just so much different. And I don't get how that gets any different. Because to be honest with you, no, I won't say that because old girl did make Jeff Bezos look a little bit cooler. So I guess you can kind of improve the coolness. But you can absolutely drop the weight because, again, I've seen the girl in high school that we used to look at and laugh and yada, yada, yada. And 10 years later, I was like, damn. So, like, and that's where I get confused at with this community when they do that because they act like it's so much different. But I'm like, it's really not.
It's different.
Somebody breaking up. What the funk is that you?
I said it's very different.
How so?
Okay, because you're talking about an attribute versus something that's as far as eating. If a guy is lame or whatever, and you're saying that that's the same as, or he may not have a lot of money, that's not the same as someone that's not in shape. You can be broke and be in shape. You can be poor and be in shape. There's a whole plethora of people in Miami, bunch of homeless dudes who just be sitting there every day doing chin-ups with like 10 abs, who got a whole Adonis body because they ain't got nothing else to do. But unfortunately, I think that a lot of women want to equate with how much money what the size of a woman you should expect. We should be trying to be healthy regardless. Well, I don't see why weight is even in the equation. We shouldn't be at the weight that we are as a culture, men and women, some of us. So why is it? Well, why is it if you don't make this certain amount of money? Well, now you have to start looking at this woman who's out of shape. Why?
Obviously, you had to. What I'm saying is, if you're not having success with these women over here, then why not deal with these women over here, and then you can possibly mold her into what you want. Again, you can lose weight. And let's not get it twisted, because I think this is another misnomer. Everybody ain't gonna be skinny. I grew up with a chick, and ever since I knew her from, 7th grade, she was just a bigger girl. That's how she's built. She can lose weight, absolutely. She will never be a small girl. That's just a fact. So she don't get nobody?
Well, the way I look at it is, and I understand the point that both of you are making, it's not to say that she doesn't get anybody, but again, it goes back to people are entitled to their preferences. And that's just the bottom line. But what I've come to realize that when people would say to me that I was a tooth snob, that part of it was aesthetics, no doubt, but it's a deeper meaning in that. It's about your willingness to have and take care of your proper oral hygiene. That's what it's about. Taking care of yourself. So, and that's tantamount or commensurate with weight. No, you may not be slim shady, but again, it goes to the level of commitment and care for your own self to take care of yourself. I focused on the oral hygiene, but it's the same. It's what you're willing to put into yourself, because again, that it sends a message of how much you care about yourself to determine how much you don't care about me, because you need to care about yourself first. So if you don't care about yourself enough to take care of your damn mouth, especially if you have benefits, it begs the question. If you don't care enough about, like what the funk said, you may be broke. But if you don't have enough care about yourself to push back from the table, drink more water, walk, then it sends a message. And again, not to say that that means you don't deserve somebody or you're not worth somebody, but it does limit your prospects. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice if we act like that it shouldn't limit our prospects, because we are visual people. You know, again, if I'm talking to you and I can see holes in your mouth while I'm speaking and you have benefits, that's a problem for me.
TJ, I don't think you got to defend that. I've never in life heard anybody be mad at somebody that wanted they dude to have teeth.
Okay, real quick, pound for pound wanted me to talk about the store, the experience. I think you're talking about when I went to the Lapeef Network Live thing. And there were, Lapeef, they talk about male female situation dynamics, and there were a lot of single people there. It surprised me to see the lack of conversations between single men and single women.
Thank you.
It surprised me.
You literally miss every shot you don't take.
Why do you think that was?
They don't know how to do it.
I think I know why too.
And they're scared. They're scared of being rejected. But see, that's the problem. I'm just, y'all can hate me. I don't give a damn. Y'all millennials, and some of y'all zennials, y'all don't know how to deal with rejection in any shape, form, or fashion. Now, I know this is a generalized statement. I know this. But because in my day, we expected that. When you go up and ask somebody to dance, they don't want to dance. When you go try to give somebody your number, they wasn't interested.
Well, forget you then.
It happened to women too. It happened to me too. And I thought I was the finest. But we would go apply for a job, wouldn't get it. We were used to rejection and didn't take it as a personal failure because rejection is a part of life. But y'all have a problem with it. Y'all have a problem with constructive redirection in any shape, form, or fashion. Again, I'm generalizing. I can say it because I raised one. I can say it because I have several nephews. Any type of constructive redirection you think is a personal affront. That is why you have situations that a guy will go up to a girl, she's not interested. Well, fuck you then, bitch. Or you have a guy that will shoot a girl because she's not interested, as opposed, even if she says it nicely. That never happened. Because y'all, and again, I'm generally speaking, y'all don't know how to deal with rejection. You think you take it as a personal affront. So when it comes back to that conversation that did not happen, it's largely, in my opinion, they believe it because of that. They didn't want to take the chance.
And the difference between a dude that does and don't is the courage. And what are women attracted to? Men with courage. If you got the courage to come talk to me, oh, he actually came and talked to me. So if I'm at that get together and all these cats is wallflowers and stuff, which is mainly what happens at parties these days, guys on this side, girls on that side, and I walk over and talk, I'm actually going to be extra impressive to her because I actually came and spoke, and all these dudes just standing on the wall. Like, it's so easy these days. It's ridiculous.
They're used to internet relationships, text relationships, and they're failing at that.
Yeah.
So how can you reasonably expect to have a real life relationship when you can't maintain one through the cyberspace?
And
that's
they
the
don't.
easiest
You gotta
place
have
to talk
emojis
to
on
people.
post-its.
And those are not real because, again,
No.
most of those are behind a computer screen, DMing or text. You're not having no conversation. And check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and give you one for free. How about when y'all having these conversations on text message or DMs, and when you meet the person, you can't say shit to them in real life?
Oh,
How
yeah.
about that?
Oh, yeah.
You got a whole bunch to say behind your phone or whatever, but you meet somebody in real life, the same person you've been having a conversation with online, and can't say nothing.
They ain't got no game.
No.
They're talking too much on the phone, not holding stuff back in person.
don't even know how to look you in the freaking eye when you talking to them. I'm just saying.
That's crazy though, because I'm just thinking about it. Like we tortured each other. Like if we got rejected, we literally laughed hella loud. Like. So I mean, I guess I'm kind of like ice cold in there because it's like if I had to go back to my partners and they pointing in my face and laughing, to even the girl could hear it. Then I mean, what is it if I go talk to a chicken? Nobody's to walk back to. So I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess it's all how you grow up. I don't know.
But hopefully Tommy and What the Funk and Silver, talk to these youngins, these guys. Talk to them again. There's nothing wrong with say, they may not be interested because a girl may come to you, you may not be interested. But the rejection is a part of life. It's a part of life. And I will give you another example. Before I retired, y'all know I work for the government, a millennial. I'll say she's my child's age. She was real cocky, sending me emails and instant messages and shit. Real cocky. But after two dialogues, I'm gonna pick up the phone. I'm gonna walk over to your office, or I'm gonna do a video conference. Couldn't handle that type of interaction, even in a professional setting. But can let the fingers do the talking, a bunch of shit. But the moment I pick up a phone or walk over there, a humming.
Keyboard gangsters.
So that's the problem. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to talk. And some of y'all, well, that's just old timey. Well, it's a reason it worked.
They said, well, TJ, I ain't here.
They said, well, that's old school. That's old timey. I said, well, there's a reason that it worked.
Well, Tommy ain't on the internet crying about chicks, so.
No, I said old timey, like old time.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying,
I'm
not on the internet crying about chicks. So you wanted to use old time or new time? I'm just saying.
Okay, y'all. We've been talking about 3 hours. I'm surprised, but thank y'all for joining in this conversation. This has been fun. So yeah, we got. I think when I was in my old job, we used to do some role playing. We used to do role playing where we would have a supervisor counsel or talk to her employee and give feedback. I think we might want to do some role play on male-female dynamic communication on and just to see how that would go. What do you think, Genesis?
Yes, do it. Do
some role playing.
It's a good idea. I think it'd just be a little weird. It's kind of like I kind of felt the same way with Security Boss's show. Because I'm like, it's a good idea, but it's just like when you're in front of an audience, people like to perform. Then you got the commenters and all of that, So it's like, it's a good idea. It's just hard because it ain't gonna come across natural. Because when you naturally meet somebody, it's not 200 people in the comments talking to you. You're not broadcasting out. You know what I'm saying?
But
so
you could be in a club, though.
But I think that anxiety even goes higher than if you're on like a platform.
That's true.
I say if you got the idea, you can see how it comes out.
Side by side. You just got through talking, Tommy, about how your guys roasted you if y'all went and talked to a girl.
I'm not talking about for me, Genesis. I'm talking about for the cast that she would like to help out. Like that'd be like you not knowing how to swim and jumping from the high dive. Like that.
Throw them in the fire.
I'll watch. I'll watch.
But you know what, Tommy? Because you're not scared. We would start with somebody who ain't scared to show them how it's done.
Come on, Bone Crusher.
Oh, shit, I ain't tripping. He said Bone Crusher. No,
we would start with somebody that's not scared, that would have a conversation, because check it out. I'll be in the store and I'm happily married. I can strike up a conversation with anybody, anywhere. I'll be in the grocery store. Did you get that? What do you think of that? Was that good? I mean, I was thinking about getting it. Have you tried that? Is it good? Okay, I'll go ahead and get it.
You did that to the chef on a lunch date.
I did. I did.
He just wants you to buy the food.
You know,
Go
I
ahead.
talk to anybody. Well, see, I didn't know
When
what
we
to
were
order. I
growing
said,
up,
what
we
do you
didn't
think
have all this technology, so you were forced to talk to people.
Right.
Now they
Right.
don't have to talk to people.
Yeah. And it's
And I'm gonna
so
say
funny.
something about
Go ahead, babe.
the
Go
Houston.
ahead.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something about the Houston thing. TJ, you gotta understand, man. We live in a messy time. Just last week watching the show, I've seen somebody pull up or say something about somebody dancing or being extra thirsty. So we live in a time where it's kind of hard to be yourself because you got so many people judging you. And sometimes that network gets real messy and they like to sling mud from across the way. You know what I mean?
And you're right, but I think just a keyboard. So we might have to remind them keyboard killers. I don't know you. You
Yeah.
don't know me. And you're absolutely right because you have a generation of people that they measure their worth by what social media says about them.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Your followers, you being extra thirsty and all that other nonsense.
The hell
It's,
on YouTube is your subscribers
yeah,
view.
Mhm. The attention that they get, they're validated, whether male or female.
yeah.
And I
We
will
have
say
to
with
work.
the phone, one of my biggest advantages I've always had is I've never ever given a F about what anybody thought about me. And as I get older, I kind of see how that made me a lot different than a lot of people. Because most of the people out here, they care. They really, really care about others' opinions. And I just never cared.
And see,
But
here's
you
the thing.
also
And see, the
That's
people
that
that.
Cali weed, sir.
Could be.
You've
As
been on that
people.
Cali humble. You've been on that Humble County shit since how old? 15? I
Uh-oh.
don't think anyone cares.
Bruh, nah, I'm gonna take the fifth on that.
Yeah,
Well,
hey,
okay.
I know Humble County.
Going back to
I
what
firefight out there. It's good
going
shit.
back to what Silver said, and when I was asking the guy, well, what do you think I should order? He looked at me like, "You talking to me?" Well, I'm gonna make you talk. You know,
Oh Lord.
we need to get back to it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
huh? Okay. We've been having fun. I thank you all so much for joining me. I'm gonna go ahead and drop each one of you down. And thank you for joining me and hanging out with me. This has been fun. And I started with my
We
rant.
had to show up. You got your shoulder out in your red dress, looking like a black version of
This
Girl
is
from
my red
Ghostbusters.
shirt.
So,
Genesis, did you
that's the
hear my
Ghostbusters
rant
dress.
earlier?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. I gotta go back and watch it. I was
Okay,
working.
I'm just gonna see it one more time because this is what started this thing.
Okay.
In 2013, I went on a rant on Facebook on a Facebook group that I am, and my friend, my college, not my college, but my high school friend, who happens to be Kevin Samuel's cousin, she sent it to me this morning. She said, "Looking back, and oh my gosh." So what I wrote is May 17th, 2013. I said, "I feel a rant coming on, and it's a doozy. So read on if you dare." When I changed my profile picture yesterday, several of you, L. Holland, Kevin Samuels, BK Bruner, Monique Bruner, Mr. Phillips, teased me about how intense I looked. Who knew that before the day's end, I would have to get into character? Well, as luck would have it, I engaged in a loving but dissenting debate with a friend and brother, Mr. Massey, over a new song by Tank, Genuine, and Tyrese called Sex Never Felt Better.
Mhm.
My position was and is that I'm dismayed with the direction that music has taken over the years. And when I thought about it, music has taken the same direction with that dating or the lack thereof has taken. Gone are the days of true romance when a man and woman would flirt with each other with a smile or a passing glance. The internet and texting has reduced dating and courtship to a quote unquote sex never felt better experience, and I want no part of it. Just yesterday, a gentleman, a term I used loosely, I've been communicating with, called me, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "What's for dinner?" What? Mind you, we hadn't even gone on our first date yet. Mysteriously, the call dropped. When he called back and had the audacity to ask me the same question, I said, "I don't know what is." Then I went on to say, "Allow me to introduce myself. I am T. Jones, and I am not sure who you've been communicating with in the past, and I don't particularly care. But if you're trying to get my attention, you might want to try a different approach." So that was 9 years ago. Not much has changed.
As it shouldn't.
Far as the approach of how men and women are interacting, it's gotten worse.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot more direct. Like it's
They
like
say what that
like
mouth do.
yeah,
Mm,
like what me and
nothing.
Silver was saying, it's
Nothing.
not even game these days. They just go straight to the gut stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this before I drop off.
Okay.
TJ, bring some Bootsy Collins and some Zapp and Roger. I don't want to hear no love songs on Sunday. Bring
We got
some summer
Parliament.
barbecue jams.
We got Parliament, Funkadelic. I don't know.
Okay.
Who are you talking to now? Youngin?
All right, I'm gonna be my speaker just in case. I'm gonna bring my speaker just in case.
Go on and bring it through. Bring it through.
Okay. See
Talk to
you
you
later.
later. Thanks, Genesis, for joining me. Until
See
next
ya.
time, appreciate you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, TJ.
Thank you so much,
Oh, and
Tommy, for adding to the conversation. We might have to do a role play the next time I do something, because you ain't scared.
yeah, just let me know. I'm usually in the truck. I'm just getting over the flu right now, so that's the reason why I'm home. But
Are you on IG, Tommy? What's your IG?
it's I'll give it to you in a back chat.
Private chat? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was gonna tell you, yeah, that song was a slap though. I ain't gonna lie. That
What
whole
song?
album. That Tyrese and who was it? Tyrese. Hey, why I can't think everybody was in that?
Tyrese,
Oh, Tyrese
Genuine,
Genuine and
and Tank.
yeah, that was man. That album, it'll get it
Was
done.
it good? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
It'll get it done. That album,
See,
some flowers and some candles, it'll get it done.
as long as you put the flowers and the candy with it, you just can't have that, and that's it. Just
The
saying.
pedals go all the way to the bed. Oh, absolutely.
Oh Lord, let's bring the romance back, shall we? Okay.
Yeah, that was my advantage. I had my pop, so he showed me how to get down. That's why I said I think that's more why it's easier for me, because half these cats don't even know how to do that, or they think it's simping.
Exactly. And again, and here's the thing. So I guess Mr. Randolph will be simping, but I don't give a damn, and neither does he.
And neither does everybody else that ain't on YouTube.
In real life.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Tommy. I got your stuff. I'm gonna hit you up on IG.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. This was fun. Y'all funny. Yeah. Ooh, the secret garden, girl. Girl, now you girl. If you think I wanna be good to you, if you think I like what you do, show you right. Okay. Anyway, Mr. What? No, not at all. For Mr. Randolph and Mr. Randolph only. Okay. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good afternoon. Get outside. Take a walk. Get some fresh air. Go get some ice cream. Walk around the park. Play hopscotch. Something. Have a cold drink. Get out from behind the computer, because I'm about to. Okay? I'm about to. So until next time, y'all have a good one.